So, welcome to the first episode of Misrolled Adventures. So before we start anything off, we should explain a few homebrew rules that I've set into place, so that way a bunch of people don't get upset at different ways I play. For one is whenever somebody, just to save time during combat, when people are spellcasters and using weapons, typically you have to have one free hand open for somatic spells. I just assume they put the weapon back, cast the spell, and then draw the weapon again, just to save some time. Otherwise it takes forever to be like, bonus action to draw out a weapon, when it doesn't make any sense. Second, death. I've also got a little bit of my own homebrew with. We haven't delved into that, luckily, yet, but in the future could become a situation. As well as that, not much else is really homebrewed other than on-the-fly decisions. But yeah, so we'll start things off. We're doing a module campaign where it's Hoard of the Dragon Queen, but with a lot of different homebrew elements that I put into it. I've renamed it as the Great Grand War, or the Great God's War. And so we'll go around the table and explain everyone's brief character history for the time being. So we'll start off with you over here.
Hello. My character's name is Jacqueline Ashriver, and she used to live in a kingdom across the mighty desert. I don't know what it's called.
The Djinni Desert.
Sure. The Genie Desert?
Djinni. It's different. It is different. Basically a wind elemental genie. There you go.
Okay. The Genie Desert. And was exiled from her kingdom by a bunch of invading horde. We'll just say.
Yeah. All right. So head over to the next person.
My character's name is North Star Gopher Omega, and
Never trust a man with three names.
yeah, and my character's originally from Bastion. It's a small village that borders the Sea of Swords.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's all you really need. Human.
yeah.
Jacqueline is also tiefling.
Oops.
Yeah, I'm human.
Yeah, I'm Randall. He's the asshole from the Church of Bahamut.
Also human.
Asshole in understatement.
And he doesn't talk about it much of himself, so it's a little difficult for everyone else to know who he is.
No one asks him.
Well, you never are conjoined in segments. So
I have been next to him on the entire time. They can
that's on their character. All right. If you want to go next, computerized man from Canada.
What's up? It's me, your boy. I'm Zericus Phelps. I am a tiefling druid who has a mired history. I will not tell you anything at all, really.
Yeah. All right then.
Trustworthy man.
So then, last person that's here right now.
Hi. Well, my character is Nida Hopkins. I'm an elf, bard class, and I came from. Oh, I forgot my place. What was it?
Pinecrest.
Pinecrest. What he said. And I already told the group this, but I was kind of part of the bad guys team for a while. We'll get into that later. But I just kind of didn't like them, honestly, and then left, and then here with this group. We'll get into more of that later, but that's what he just suggested me. And I'm a playboy.
As most bards are. So we also have another party member who is currently unable to join us for the time being. Whether he'll join us later on or completely miss out on this session is dependent on him. I'm also the DM, so just since this will be an all-audio podcast, it'll be a little bit difficult to discern people's voices, as some of us are very similar. But do your best, and I will do my best to edit in the best I can. So, where we last left off, you guys had the mission from Greenest to go...
Beautiful. That was very beautiful. What a great way to start this podcast.
Forgot my own rules. Anyways,
Oh boy.
so, shut up. Back to where we're at. So you guys were given a mission essentially to go to El Terrell from Greenest by Onthar and Leosin. As you made your way along the path, you had come into contact with several entities, a large adult blue dragon that shifted its scales into that of a green dragon's and it manifested its own capabilities as such. When you made it to El Terrell, several of you discussed a plan to go from Baldur's Gate to Waterdeep, as the cultists of the dragon had essentially been trying to maneuver their treasure that they had been stealing from several different cities to Waterdeep. In El Terrell, several of you had joined up with the Emerald Enclave, the Harpers, and the Order of the Gauntlet, which have not been initiated yet, but in the future could be. Making your way to Baldur's Gate through a boat ride, several complications happened involving a water elemental or lesser water elemental that was piloting the ship, led to several mephits, and then eventually making it to Baldur's Gate, luckily. Making it to Baldur's Gate, you met with a man named... let me get my notes out again.
Paranoid man.
He actually never gave his name. That's right. He never gave his name, but he's a very paranoid halfling man. He was in search of mercenaries to protect him from Baldur's Gate to Waterdeep, as people in Baldur's Gate, a lot of political figures, have been getting murdered by a militia group called the Sparks. They've sided themselves with the Cult of the Dragon. Whether they're allies of the Cult of the Dragon themselves is unknown to the party, but so far they have been murdering political figures that have been trying to bring rise to forces against them. As such, he requested aid and did not trust Zakaris or Ryder, as they were wearing masks on their first impression. And,
Especially guy wearing a jester's mask.
yes, the rest of you were hired, luckily, and proceeded to then make your way to the meeting point at the northern exit of Baldur's Gate, where Ryder then bought two horses, for himself and Zakaris, as they will not be funded at all during this entire venture of nearly a month's journey. And that's where we last left off. You guys had just slept at the inn and woke up in your respective rooms, 4 of which stayed in the same room, and the 2 tieflings stayed in their own.
They don't like socializing.
Hmm?
They don't like socializing.
They banged.
The tieflings don't like socializing.
Sure.
But yeah, so what does everyone want to do? You guys just woke up.
I mean, well, okay.
Burst open the door.
Never goes that.
Ignore that.
Howdy ho, everybody. I guess the person woke me up at least, because I told him to.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we have to wake you up now.
Yeah.
You pathetic.
The elven man who lost his ability to meditate.
So,
Yeah, the man eventually woke you up and essentially comes knocking on your door. Hello, you told me to wake you up.
oh God, how do you humans do this? I need to get it up. Oh.
Through unyielding rage. Right? Right, Gopher?
Yep.
Oh. Whoa, why is my hair all messed up?
That's called bedhead.
Yeah.
Would you like a glass of water?
Yeah, I'm surprisingly thirsty.
He actually already came with basically a pallet of water, since 4 of you had reserved his largest and only large room as the other side had collapsed. He has a tray of what looks to be very small, meager breakfast items, like a few eggs and a few glasses of water. Being in the outside part of the outer city of Baldur's Gate, a lot of the place is pretty ramshacked and destroyed or in meager conditions. So, but he has glasses of water for the 4 that have stayed in that room. Yeah, and he's got eggs for breakfast, more or less.
Eggs.
Ooh, eggs again. Had this last night.
Only eggs can sustain me.
It's all that I'd had after you requested dry rations for your trip.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Understandable.
Thank you.
Alright.
Alright.
Eat up quick.
Yes.
Are we sure we want the outside noise for this?
I mean,
Is it picking it up?
I think it is, but
Probably is. If anyone honks up there.
that's fine.
Okay.
It is what it is. If you wanted it, because otherwise it'll be balls hot in here. So
Well-
you could bring a fan next time.
then the fan will get picked up on. It would change nothing.
So-
Tee off.
Finish breakfast quickly. I'm going to get up and be like, alright, I gotta go find asparagus. For those of you guys don't know, I name Zacchaeus, tiefling male.
Yeah.
Asparagus.
I'm
You get used to it.
We all call him that at this point.
Basically,
Except for me.
his character calls Zacchaeus asparagus once, and then we're all just like, "What's your name now?"
Anyways, I'm gonna go find asparagus and get a horse. What's up?
Because you're gonna have much more freedom than the rest of us. You are in charge of keeping an eye on the rest of
Are you
the
kidding me?
game.
He's gonna have less freedom.
I know.
What are you talking about?
I'll plan with asparagus.
So you go to try to
He
find
needs to keep
asparagus.
himself in line.
I'm guessing he's in the other room. I
That's
don't
me.
know.
Rex, you and go for it.
When you essentially go to find the room that they're staying in,
If he doesn't, Mama's gonna give him a spank.
when you go find him, essentially, it's pretty easy because the rest of the rooms are pretty damaged, and considering you had to essentially open the doors with key cards before, you can see the doors that have been recently scratched up against with their wooden cards, more or less. And so you essentially find their room. It's still closed, either inadvertently or locked. You're not quite sure which is which.
Knock, knock, knock.
Just kidding.
Is it? Who's this?
Asparagus.
Oh, it's you.
We gotta go pick up our horses. We should go do that.
Yeah, let's go.
Alright.
Yeah,
So did you decide what you want to name your horse?
I haven't thought about it. It's
I
almost
haven't.
like I wasn't here. And I was on autopilot last time.
It was like me.
again.
It was like me. I don't know. I felt the same thing when I was on the boat with you guys coming here. Right, whatever. Let's go.
Jesus. Okay, so what's the rest of you all gonna do while they're going out to go grab their horse? Did you want to do anything?
Go.
Evaluate what she has, I guess.
Okay.
Did I say that my character's female? Did I say that?
I think so.
If I didn't, yeah.
She, Jacqueline Ash River. I think it would be relevant, but regardless. So, as you guys are evaluating yourselves, you two make your way to the Celebon goods. The Celebon,
Cinnabon.
the man who essentially sold you your horses. And when you approach, you can see there are two horses that have two saddles, sag bags, and they have the reins that are set off to the side. And you can see Celebon himself is feeding them what looks to be these small, like cube-like rations, and they're just like.
Oh. Celebon?
You've met Celebon, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You bought the horses
I
from
forgot
him.
it was his name, though.
Okay.
Oh, Celebon.
Oh yes.
I was about to ask you about those. Do you have any? You going to give us any food for the horses by chance, or
Well, they'll have to be fed by yourself.
do you have any you could be willing to sell?
I mean, I have some. It's my own food, but
Oh.
I can sell it to you.
No, I'll be fine. I was just worried like what horses eat. Not really a horse expert.
They eat food. That's a good start.
All right, good enough. All right,
Welcome to simple biology.
Alright, we'll take these
The
horses.
sarcasm of nose.
So are they trained to be ridden by anyone then?
Oh yes, they're travel horses. So more or less, they'll be able to. As long as you want to go somewhere, they'll take you there.
Alright.
They're not capable fighters, if that's what you're asking.
Oh
but
no, don't worry. Don't worry about that.
What color are these horses?
So one of them has actually got black. Is just solid black. The other one has a slight gray with white splotches on it, as like kind of a polka dotted pattern. Not polka dot, but several splotches on them have white patches of fur instead.
Alright, Asparagus, since I owed you money, you get first dibs on the horse. Which one you want?
I'll take the black one.
Right, I'll get this grayish one.
So edgy.
Okay.
I am the Edge Lord.
Yeah, it's so immediately you can tell that these horses are very well respectable. They they're not in fear of you, none of the sort. So you can very easily kind of just walk up to it, brush up against it, and begin to essentially ride it.
Alright, also asparagus. Since we're not getting paid or fed on this adventure, I grabbed us a bunch of rations. Not enough for a whole month's trip, but we'll make do.
You live off my good berries. We'll be fine.
That too. We'll eat these when we really want food. Then.
Well, you're going the trade way, correct?
Good berry. It'll be great.
Correct.
Well, to get to trade way does not start from Baldur's Gate. It starts in Dragonspear.
Oh.
So you'll be traveling here to Dragonspear, and then a 14-day trip, typically on Tradeway.
Huh. Yeah, they didn't really give us details about it. They said prepare for a month's journey at worst.
Well, it will be quite a long journey, because getting here to Dragonspear takes the better part of 2 weeks. Potentially even more.
Alright, well then, thank you for the horses. Is there anything you want us to tell... What was his name again? The other guy?
Which other guy? There's a billion people.
The one who hired them.
Never said his name.
He never said his name. He was a very paranoid man.
Well,
We
we
were
did
told
tell...
his name by
Were
this guy.
You were.
His full name. We got his last.
You're right. You're right.
Intelligence check.
Let me get my chapter up here so I can look at it again. You have a full table over there, and you're dropping dice already.
He literally dropped it on the slanted edge of that table.
For the audio listeners, no, I'm just kidding.
I feel like we described it wrong.
Where is?
All
Oh,
of a sudden they hear,
he's in my small notes book
Up there
here.
at the ceiling.
no, for the audio listeners, I just smacked Max in the face. Clapped my hands.
Harvey Days. That was his name.
Harvey Days.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you-
Harvey Dent.
Would it be anything you want us to tell Harvey? When we're...
I hope he makes it.
So give him your regards. Got it.
Yes, sure. If you want to call it that. But best of luck on your journey. I know it'll be very difficult.
Thank you. We'll be off. Alright, let's go, asparagus.
So, where are you guys going with your horses, by the way? Because you're still on the northern side of Baldur's Gate's outer city.
I'm just gonna go back to Greenness.
Oh yeah, we're just going back to Green.
Enjoy the 65-day month trial journey over there. You are far from Greenest.
Oh, God.
Boats. Real how that.
Not on land. You have to cut across land to get to Greenest. Anyways, so what's the rest of you doing essentially while they're off doing their horses?
Like I said, it's at this point I assume we're getting ready and waiting for
We
them
got
to
all
get
our
back.
equipment before we went to bed, too.
Yeah.
How much time? How much time do we have?
Well,
How much privacy does Jackie have?
inside your room, plenty. Especially with the door slammed, quote unquote, slammed shut. It's actually very soundproof inside of it. It's not perfect, but by any means, it fits a room etiquette. And by time, it's bright morning. Like, it's pretty much at about 7 a.m. or so.
I thought it was dawn. I thought we left at dawn because that's why I told him to wake us up.
Yeah.
Before daybreak, pretty much.
Before daybreak, so yeah. So, pretty close to that point.
Yeah.
6:30.
We got a bit of time before.
You were told that they would leave earlier,
So,
but...
Just a heads up. Me and Asparagus put on a mask.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
You remember what Jackie did in that one water barrel?
Yeah, bathed.
Bathed. Quote unquote, yeah, that she wishes to do that.
Okay. There's not a there. If you wanted to, you could talk to the innkeeper to see if they do have a water basin for you.
Oh, never mind. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Curl up into a ball. I know what you're talking about. And hiding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I was making a thing in case you actually wanted to bathe. Anyways, so
She will do private.
you guys are making your way back to the inn then? Ryder and Zacchaeus, you guys are making your way back to the inn? Okay. It takes a better part of like a minute. It doesn't take very long, and considering that it took you a couple minutes to get there to begin with. When you get there, you can see that there's several like there's other horses that are out in the middle of the street, and they have carts kind of strewn out to them. They're in the far distance though, so you haven't really been able to pinpoint who or what they exactly are. So when you get to the inn, you can see that the innkeeper is there, the tiefling man, and you can see the rest of your group is essentially getting prepared, other than Jacqueline, who seems to be off doing whatever Jacqueline does. So what's everyone's goal here?
So,
I'm just gonna go way by the entrance where.
Okay.
So Randall, you
I mean,
talk to the tiefling man?
If you guys want to go to the meeting point, that would be your decision.
Okay.
Because it's not going to happen inside this inn.
We said we're gonna get ready and go like 5 times. One part of that is not getting ready to go to the meeting.
No. They're very normal.
Alright.
Go.
Yeah,
Interesting.
we'll gather everyone and start to get ready to go.
So what is Jacqueline doing in her room right now?
What happens behind closed doors stays behind closed
Well, they're trying to go get you, so what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Does someone knock?
We both knock at the same time.
Sister, what are you doing?
She hears the carrots. You say that out loud?
Wait,
Yeah.
You're not there yet.
Yeah, they're there.
Oh,
They
okay.
got in there.
Oh,
He says that out loud?
Well, go for it.
Okay, she hears the Karis' voice, and all he hears is a bunch of rustling, some cursing, and then she very quickly opens the door, a little flustered, and is like, "Are we ready to go?"
By the way, we're all here.
Yeah. You can see the rest of the party is just standing there.
You look a little disheveled.
I'm fine. Nothing to see here. Let's go.
alright, let's get out of here.
Okay.
By the way,
Anyway,
he's not too quiet, is he?
no, he's not. When I went into the audio, it was fine. Okay, so you guys are leaving to go to the meeting point then?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you get out, Zacchaeus and Ryder recognize these carts that are out there that they've seen before. The rest of you have seen them now for the first time as you've just now exited the inn. There's about 5 or 6 carts in the distance, several different horses, and a lot of people that are strewn about, essentially. They're about like a good half a mile away, because the outer city of Baldur's Gate is very flat and the roadway is just straight. It's very easy to see down the path itself.
Can we tell if they're towards the north gate or not?
Yeah, you're on the north gate. To see the south gate, you'd have to see past Baldur's Gate, because the rest of the pathway is obstructed by dead land, essentially, and boulders.
Is the
Or
is
is
this
it
the
they're like near east or west?
No, because you're to your east or to your west is the ocean. So they're north.
Is this the caravan that we're going to be traveling with for the month or whatever?
That's what you don't know. You just see them.
Oh, okay. I thought that was okay.
Yeah, they're facing north. But yeah, so if you guys are going to go up to
That's
see
all
if they
I
are.
I have a feeling that might be it, as we can't see any others.
Yeah, the rest of the city is just pretty quiet. Being this early, a lot of the workers are actually very lazy and are trying to essentially get out of having to do as much work as possible, considering that their lives aren't exactly the most pleasant. When you get there, it takes a better part of like 5-10 minutes. Not for Ryder or Zacchaeus because they're on horseback, but they're keeping up with the rest of you. As you go out further, you can tell as well, as you are going out further from the outer city, because you're still in it, but the further out you're going in outside of it, the ground itself is getting more muddy and getting more mucky. It's got this scent of just decay and kind of mildew-esque type of
You're getting my new
sinew.
shoes all dirty.
Yes, they're getting muddy.
You
Anyways.
wear shoes as a tiefling.
She's not going barefoot.
You don't want to go barefoot in this. But, so essentially when you get there, you can see that there are about 6 carts, all of which are very different in their own aspect. There's a cart that has several different mechanical pieces in it.
Is there one with like polka dots on it or something?
Now that you speak about like design,
No.
you can look around and it's not necessarily polka dots, but you can see that this cart, in comparison to the rest of them, is very luxurious.
Oh,
It has gold plated lines inside of the cart itself. It has the
inconspicuous.
it's got
But he's very
it's-
good at stealth.
it's got wooden wheels that have about like a dark shade to them.
Mahogany.
Yeah, basically mahogany-esque type of wood. You can see that around it also has 6 guards and a very bulbous man sitting on top of a white stallion that's got.
That's an adjective for a person.
Basically,
Bulbous.
picture the Sheriff of Nottingham. He's huge,
Oh.
bald. He's got very stiff facial hair.
Does he have a
Oh.
Chester's hat on?
He does. He's not wearing a hat. He's very bald. But he's essentially sitting on this white stallion that's got this luxurious.
So he's a real thick boy.
Yes, he's got a luxurious plating on the horse itself. Shush. Behind him is inside the cart. You can see. Shush. You can see that there are a lot of art pieces, like shinier objects and gemstones. There's all kinds of there's just wealth inside this cart, and there's just crates that are lined with the same symbols as you can see that are on the horses and the cart itself. There are just 6 guards, also all blonde, wearing yellow-esque type of armor.
They left
There's-
blue eyes.
Yeah, actually, they do have all blue eyes. There are 2 others as well that look a little bit different. They're on similar horses, though. They're still wearing yellow type of armor. One's wearing full plate mail, while the other one's wearing yellow robes. They're also still blonde, though the one in plate armor does not have blue eyes. He has lightly green. And you can see that the bulbous man, as you're kind of like glancing at him, sees you and just tilts his head up a little bit and just looks forwards. Essentially, doesn't give you recognition. Apart from just from looking for that, you also see a cart that's just filled with barrels. It has about 3 horses. He doesn't have any other, there's no other people around his cart, but there are 3 barrels, or 3 horses pulling this cart full of 20 barrels. And he's just a very very regular man. He just kind of seems a little strange to be just sitting there. You also see a cart that's completely covered in tarps. There's about 2 carts that have about 6 or 7 figures that are all robed as well. They're at the head of it, and there's a very box cart. It's got solid just wood walls, and there's no windows to it either, and everything's just barricaded several different times over. There is a door, but the door is more of picture a gate mixed with steel barracks and then barbed wire almost. He's trying, whatever's in this cart is precious to this owner and is trying to keep every outer source away from it. There's also 2 horses, and then there's what are they called? A bandwagon behind it that's got about 3 other guards sitting inside of it. It looks like it could only fit a few, but there's just 3 other guards that are just sitting there.
It would be a shame if that cart were to explode or something.
Absolutely
Rex,
dreadful.
I'm pretty sure. Hey, Rex. I think we're maybe supposed to be in one of these.
I don't know. Don't try to make me roleplay for Rex here.
You have to
No,
do
I
a
will.
roll for when he wakes up.
Fair enough.
Oh,
You left
God.
Rex at the end.
The end.
Just play whoever you want.
There's- Apart from the cart that has several different mechanical pieces in it, there's only one other cart that's there,
Right, yeah.
and it's less of a cart and more of a carriage. The essentially picture the pumpkin carriage from Cinderella. It's
onion.
Okay.
Is it an onion
Yeah,
carriage?
it was an onion.
I thought it was a
No,
pumpkin.
it's a pumpkin.
It's a pumpkin.
It is a pumpkin.
Yeah, don't fuck with me. I know my Disney.
Yeah, it does look
Anyways.
like an onion, though.
When it's when you get a little bit closer, it just smells of lavender. The color texture of the carriage itself is of this beige type of like purple, and when you can approach it, you can see that there's a large like half-orc man that's sitting at the reins of the horses. You can actually see there's like a womanly figure in the interior of the carriage, but you can't see her face. She's kind of like shrouded in what's essentially... You can only see her figure. You can't see any like features of her. You also see a human woman that's sitting off to the side with black hair and black glasses that's lining her face. There's also... But for a brief moment, you swear you see a parrot almost on the half-orc, but then you recognize him as a halfling man that's just sitting on his shoulder, essentially. He's got like a very small harp on its back. And then there's one man that actually, when you're essentially glancing over to him, he sees you and waves, and he's got a rapier to his waist, and he's just got gray hair and pretty pale skin. Hello, friend! How are you? He just waves to you. You're not really like close enough to start engaging conversation, but he just waves to you and shouts.
I put my hand up.
Hello.
Oh, you look around like, what? Oh, us. At us.
Yes! Hello! Anyway, he just goes back to his business. As well as that, you can... those are all the carts, essentially. The cart full of barrels, parts, mechanical parts, the tarps, the carriage... and the bulbous man, and then the box cart, essentially.
You walk up to the pale guy, I guess.
You know what I just realized about the half-orc?
I'm not used to being the one
The
initiating where we
half-orc is
go.
either massive, or the half-one is either tiny.
Yeah.
We either have
A half of a half.
Okay, so as you essentially make your way to the carriage, the rest of them don't really give you any notice, but the man that waved to you is like, "Hello, how can I help you?"
I don't know, you waved to us.
I was just greeting some fellow people in the city. I don't know if you're going to be joining us for this venture or not, but just being polite.
She backs back into the crowd and pushes Ryder forward.
Oh. Well, hello, good sir.
Rex is there. Randall is supposed to find something.
Well, hello.
Hello. Nice to meet you. I guess. I am Ryder Hopkins.
Well, pleasure to meet you, I suppose. It's a little strange for you all to... I mean, I understand I waved and being polite, but to ask and then to push someone else in front of me is a little strange, but we're not very accustomed for
We
me.
also work for a pale person, and I don't do well with strangers.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm the one who usually does the talking, but I guess I'll be kind back and introduce myself.
Well, Ryder, my name is Alan Cole. Pleasure to meet you. We're going to be doing... So you're essentially here, you were hired by a pale man, or more or less?
Yes, we are hired by a man to protect him on this adventure to his destination, wherever we're heading to.
Which man is this?
I cannot disclose that, which is privacy.
Fair enough. I mean, if you're here to travel with him to protect him, that would make sense.
Yep, so I won't be able to say, but you'll probably figure it out by who hanging around a lot.
Jacqueline will lean up to Ryder and be like, technically you're not protecting him.
I know, but I need to make a good name for myself. Somehow.
As you guys are whispering directly like 3 feet from Alan.
Stealth check.
No, he can hear you. Especially when you just do the hand covering to be like, technically you don't work for him. But yeah. So,
anyways, I'm guessing you're doing the same?
Yes. Though ours is a little bit more open. We're protecting the Grand Maven.
Oh, wow.
Very political individual of the city.
The oldest guy back there?
No, I'm not very sure of who that is, but the man that's inside of the woman that's inside of our carriage is the Grand Maven.
The woman, you said.
Yes. She likes to stay hidden, being she's very anonymous. That's why her name is the Grand Maven. She does not go by very many other names.
Understandable.
You want to keep Ryder as far away from her as
As far
possible.
away from her as possible.
Yeah.
You not want this guy near her.
No.
Don't worry about this.
Well, nobody's getting near her anyways. She has us trustworthy guards, and at that point you can hear the halfling man. Trustworthy is what I would not really say about that one over there. And he kind of points to the woman that's got her glasses up, and as he does that, you can see her just kind of like press her glasses up, opens a tome, and then the halfling man decides to shut up as the book has been opened, and then she just slams the book closed and goes back to doing her own business.
Alright, we gotta stay the fuck away from her.
Well, since we're fellow adventurers, why not help each other while we can on this trip?
Well, as far as I'm understanding, have you been on caravans very often? Because usually there's a gap between us, so that way we don't...
Yes. I'm talking off time, you know.
Oh, I mean,
Like-
that's fair. We'll be traveling for most of the day and then sleeping at night, so it only makes sense.
Break some meals, talk to each other, have some fun at night, and then back to work in the day.
Tell ghost stories.
Also possible, I suppose. Though specters are very terrifying creatures, if you've ever seen one before.
Exactly. That's why you tell ghost stories.
Many can't, so... Anyways,
we better get to our employee. So
employer.
employer.
You are the
We are.
You are the add-on to the
Yes.
employees, as you and Zacchaeus have not been hired.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gopher was hired on as a guard, Rex and Randall were hired on as private, or personal guards, and
I'm in charge of Gopher's ass.
and Jacqueline is in charge as a sergeant in charge of the lower guards.
Yeah.
So does that mean
So that
I'm
means
in
I have to
charge
interact
of
with a lot of people.
her?
You're less of in charge because you're not going to be associated with her very often. Being a personal guard, you are told to stay as close to Harvey as possible.
But technically, you do have rank over me.
Technically, sure. Just you won't exactly have the option
if
to give.
it comes down
No.
to it, you do have rank over me.
All right. We'll hope to see you at night then.
Well, I'm sure we're here, and the rest of them are here, so I'm guessing you'll see us in a few
I'm
minutes.
saying if
I'm sure we'll
anything
see.
happens, what I'm saying.
I mean,
Literally, just don't let him talk to anyone female in the group.
But I'm sure we will
Well-
see him because he's sensible in the dark, probably.
he can go ahead and try with her, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere.
All right, let's go, guys. Let's go to the guy.
Guy.
So, which cart you went to? The beige carriage.
I know. I
more or
guess
less.
apparently I followed Jackal. I guess.
Apparently, everyone followed me, which never happens.
Yeah, we're all following.
I mean, you
I
kind of
was the
dragged,
one
you
that
kind of
said
pushed
hello.
me, so I just.
I know, like when we walked over there, like I assumed that we all just walked over to that guy.
So,
No one said anything because none of y'all are talking.
Alright, so let's just go to the caravan we're supposed to be at.
you're in the caravan that you're supposed to be at.
I mean the our cut we were supposed to.
You're not entirely
That's
sure.
what we're trying to figure out.
Alright, so.
That's why I said hello.
Alright, so.
So I went up to a pale guy and was like, "Hey,
Which one
he
looks-
looks like
Which
this
one
dude."
looks the spiffy? One of the spiffiest.
The spiffiest is definitely the golden laid, mahogany wheeled.
Was
With
that the one we were just at, or was that not?
that's not that one. The one that I'm describing is the one with a
But-
big bulbous
How about
man
this? Which
sitting on a
one with
horse.
with no people around it?
No people around it, or the one that's in the carts? Because there's people in. Or you're talking about the beer, the barrel, the barrel
I
cart,
doubt that's the
Oh
one
no,
the
this
guys
no.
in.
What cart has the least people around?
the barrel cart. It has only the driver near it.
Let's go to the one with the. Are we at the one with the barbed wire?
Yeah.
The huge crate. I mean,
barricade.
it's nearby. All these carts are near each other. They're not like spread apart anywhere. They're within like a block of each other. They're just kind of meanderly getting things prepared.
Why should our guy not be here yet?
I mean, alright, so.
You guys going to the box cart?
the
Yeah.
mahogany one?
Is it
No,
possible
the
to
box
knock
cart.
on it without? Is it possible to knock on it without?
The box
I mean,
cart?
how about you go to
The
the
box.
fancy one?
I'm going to the box one.
How about we go to
The
the box one?
fortified one.
You're supposed to be the one next to it the whole time, so I
I'm
think
supposed to be next to you know where me and Rex think is our best chances. I feel like for me and Rex is that one.
Alright.
That looks like the one that's going to be the most fortified.
So you're going to the box cart?
Yeah.
Is the rest of you following, or?
So why not? I'm not going to the fancy one unless we know that's the one.
Okay. So you go to the box cart.
Is it possible to knock on it?
Yeah. So you go, and There's silence. Another moment of silence. Another moment of silence. Go away!
Harvey.
At that point, you hear, and there's a very, very tiny eye slit that he sees, and he peers in. He looks around.
Randall leans down.
Randall then leans into view, and he goes, "Oh, good."
Do I start hearing
You hear a lot of locks. What essentially sounds is there's this metal, and then you hear, and he opens the door, and you can see there's just keys. It's as if he made a bomb shelter for a cart. There's cloth on the ground, thick pillows that are meant to where on the floor where he walks. The interior is just filled with dry rations. And by rations, I mean rations. They're not luxurious food. These are foods that will last him for months before spoiling. He has created essentially a bomb shelter of a box.
Are they Twinkies?
They're not Twinkies. Twinkie-esque, maybe.
Well, now we know that Gopher. I think we got an idea. Gopher.
So what will we have to do to get the entire town to cram into this bomb shelter and kick him out so that only he dies like a flame?
Your phone's ringing.
It is.
It's all professional.
Is that Calvin?
No idea who that is.
Okay. Anyways, but yeah, so that's basically what you see when he opens the door. So, you're staying with me, and he points to Rex. You are watch over everyone else. When we start going, I will command you to pilot. Otherwise, I'll be seen, or at least my hands will be. The rest of you and you. He points to Zacchaeus and Ryder.
We'll stay far away from you if you want us to. We're just here to take.
You stay near, because I prefer the meat shields, if anything. But especially that man. And he points to Zacchaeus, who's 400 pounds, sitting on this horse.
That's kind of rude.
I
He's
brought that
sensitive
up.
about his weight.
I brought that up earlier.
Well, then you should do something about it. Yeah, so hopefully things will be fine.
Don't worry, you're in capable hands with us.
Not with you two, but with the rest of them, hopefully. That's what I'm paying them for. The other 4 are the other guards, so 3 now. One of them fled after he was hired on by that bulbous, huge man that was over there in the cart. He's a member of the Merchants Guild, so he's got a lot of wealth to him, and he basically bought one of my guards. That way he could feel more fortified with his immense wealth. But
are we the only ones hired protecting you right now?
no, the other 3 that are in the bandwagon behind us.
Okay, 3.
Yes.
3 others. Okay.
Don't you judge me. I didn't want to hire you to begin with.
You didn't hire him to begin with.
Yeah.
Well, if other guards die, then maybe I'm forced to.
Who knows, if one of these guys are willing to pay me, I might just go work for them instead. But...
Fine.
Yeah, okay.
But please don't. Anyways,
Please don't.
and at that point, you can hear a lot of clanging of metals from the cart that's just filled with metal objects and tools. Best of luck. I trust in you. You, sir, you're coming with me, and Rex kind of just steps in. Bye, guys, and just.
Should we just hear him start reacting?
My God.
What?
That's gross. Anyways, no, you don't hear a reaction. You hear the sound of a lot of muffled footsteps trying to find a spot to sit softly, and then you just hear, and the cart kind of shakes a little bit as if something had fallen, more or less.
Alright.
I wonder how many rations this fellow would. So there's no one in the driver's seat of this
I
car.
don't want to know what just happened. So I'm just gonna try to. I didn't see that.
And after,
Nothing happened.
yeah.
Alright, I get up on it.
Okay, so you get at the reins. There's 2 horses as well that are piloting it essentially. A lot of the carts have two, apart from the
Randall has proficiency
in animal handling. Land vehicles. That's true. This would count as a land vehicle. The rare occasion, but all of the carts, apart from the one that has barrels, has 2 horses essentially piloting. The barrel one has 3, and after a good 10 minutes or so that pass, if you guys aren't going to be doing anything else,
Well, we gotta discuss a plan. So, how we all want to organize our formation around this card?
Be around it.
Yeah.
We'll be like the guards.
Apparently, since we're meat shields, I think it'd be probably best if me, Sakaris, are probably in the front and back.
I'll go on the back left.
Alright, I'll take.
Are you gonna?
Asparagus, I'll trust you. I'll take the front if anything happens.
I guess I'm lifting the cart now.
I'll take the right side, right front, I guess.
Well, I was gonna say they have horses. These two don't have horses.
Yeah, I don't have horse.
I would
Wait, in the back of the cart, is there like anything to grab onto or anything like that?
Yes.
The bandwagon cart is essentially what you could consider a wagon. It's got 2 wheels on the sides, and it's just strapped to the back.
You probably should go back to that opinion. You're in command of the wagon behind us.
I am.
Because they're the. You said
Is
they
that
were the
so?
guards.
As a sergeant, you were to command the rest of the guards.
Okay.
Which is the cart behind us, correct?
So does that mean Gopher needs to go to that cart too?
That's up to you guys.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Gopher as your first order. Do whatever the crap you want.
Nice.
As you guys are kind of figuring out your formation, Celeban also approaches, and he's got one other tied horse to him. I was also told that this horse was for someone else, correct?
Oh, asparagus? We both have our horses.
Or
don't we?
you.
This was bought by
For Jack.
for your owner.
Oh,
I would assume it's for the sergeant.
That would make sense.
that'd be that guy. That'd be the woman over there.
Or go to horse.
No.
You didn't.
What?
He bought it from you.
He bought it.
Hobby bought it for you.
Oh,
Yeah, we're assuming it's for you.
sure. Yeah, I'll take. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so basically,
Yeah, sure.
apart from the guards, everyone has a horse except for Randall, who's piloting the cart,
And Rex.
and Rex, who's inside the cart.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Essentially, he's up front with me at this point.
Okay, so you're sitting up front with Randall.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
That's a good notion to have. So that way it plays everyone.
Well, you have a crossbow,
I
right?
guess I will
Yeah,
go
they have a
over
hand
here on my
crossbow.
horse
There, we
so I
got
can
range.
see
We got
everything. I guess,
we got
whatever.
range.
Sure.
Okay.
She doesn't know how to be a guard. She knows how to be something else important.
She knows how to kill, but not how to go.
Let me get my figurines out for the 3
I
other
mean, you're not
guards.
technically wrong. she knows how to murder. She doesn't know how to protect. Like she's a paladin in training.
These will act as the 3 other guards. These flying monkeys.
Okay.
Oh, those monkeys.
Anyways, so
It's the flying monkeys. The wicked witch of the west. Flying monkeys.
The methods are back.
Oh.
The wickedy witch.
anyways, so is there anything anybody else wanted to do during this time, or are you guys just waiting now? You're not gonna go talk to any of the other carts or anything?
I mean, we could
I'm
try, but I don't know.
Nice.
Everything is
Just put that on the counter. put that on the counter. Just put it up against the wall on the counter. Not that side. Put it on the wall so it at least does something.
Not on this stuff.
Please get it
Oh my
off
God.
the stove.
Give me it. For fuck's sake. Just give me both.
Nothing he did worked.
God.
He literally did everything with on the counter.
It's Jordan. He's always going to do everything except for what he's actually supposed to do.
Okay.
Like buy every shield ever.
So if you guys are just gonna wait, time passes as essentially nothing is really happening, and a lot of the mechanical sounds have died down. You can see that there's a woman with like pigtails on that just goes down to her ears or down to her shoulders. She isn't exactly. You can tell from this distance that she's elvish, but at the same time she has bright red skin that of a tiefling. She has pointed ears and has elvish traits to her, but is very bright red with solid colored eyes as well, much like a tiefling.
Where at, you said?
In the cart that has the mechanical sounds and mechanical effects to it, and just parts essentially.
I guess.
Well, as this is essentially after that has died down, you can hear from the cart that has all the tarps on it and the robed figures. A man steps forwards. He pulls down the hood, and you can see he's just got brown hair on, very pale complexion. A lot of people that are living around this area probably don't get enough sunlight, as the ground itself doesn't reflect much up, and they're just kind of looking pale. And he just shouts at the top of his lungs. All right, our traveling direction will go as follows. To make it to Waterdeep, we are going to be traveling to Tradeway. So, in order to make it there, we will first be heading to Dragonspear, to our northeast, the town of Dragonspear. In order to make it there, we will have to cut across Troll Claws and the winding waters that follow inside of it. For safety, we'll have the positioning the carts as follow. Each cart will have an associated cart following them per day that will travel approximately 50 feet apart. The rest will remain 200 feet away, so best to not get tangled up should something arise or occur. In the head of the caravan will be us to direct the rest of you. Then 200 feet back will begin your numbers. Decide amongst the lot who wants to be a pair and where you will be associated inside the cartel. Positions will not be changed during the travel unless agreed upon by both parties. It will take about 2 weeks to make it to the town of Dragonspear. During this time, we will travel for 12 hours per day, 10 hours for rest, and then 2 hours in the morning for prep. By this point, you will not receive aid from the rest of the formation if you break away, or forced to break away. We will continue on our path until you either make your way back, or you do not return. If you do not return, your spot will be filled in by the rest of the cartel in order for safety in numbers. So I will leave the rest of the decision-making to the rest of you. We will be leaving once the decision has been made. Understand? Good. And he puts up the hood and then goes back to doing work on the tarps.
Did you say Troll Claw?
Yeah, I said something about trolls.
Uh-huh.
That part of that leg of the giant does not sound fun. Which card do we want to pair up with?
You can make a intelligence check, intelligence nature check for because you're Zakaris can as well because you're more native to this location.
Alrighty. That is a natural 20.
Okay.
Oh,
And so a 3.
So 3 for okay. So you hear Troll's Claw, and you think, what? I've never. What's a claw? So, is it? Do they have 3 fingers, or what classifies a claw? So you just kind of go off on a tangent, thinking about the physical structure of a claw instead of the actual location named Troll Claws.
Slowly.
Zakaris, a spark of recognition occurs.
He's hearing all this mutter.
A spark of recognition occurs as, from Baldur's Gate, you've heard stories that there is a swamp-like demeanor that's called Troll's Claws. And the reason why it was called this is because of, A, the amount of trolls that have obviously been found roaming across it, but as well the swampy atmosphere has had the feeling of unwanted travelers that go off the beaten path have felt as if claws have been grabbing at their ankles, pulling them deeper. This has been a wide-known effect known throughout it that people have called troll claws, because if you have been grabbed by a troll, you're most likely never seen from again. The winding water that they had also shouted out during this is a river spread that every few weeks the water has changed current, going upriver and downriver. It has this strange hue to it as well that is very colloquialized with the same color palette as the Troll Claws swamp is. many people have been essentially traveling through it to get across. There once was a bridge, but because of the change in rapids, it's very difficult to keep any sort of time to create a fully stonemason bridge, as well as essentially you'll have to just push through it or trough through it.
I relayed this to everybody else.
Okay, so everyone else knows about this knowledge as well.
That's not ominous at all.
Why are we going this way instead of the main road, is my question.
I don't know. That is a mystery.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You think
Are we taking a shortcut? Is that what's going on?
Well, you think this could be...
I feel like we're taking a real bad shortcut.
Do you think this cartel knows about that?
With a natural 20 as well, I'll also let you know that based off of going off of the coast, which Tradeway is not actually associated with, you would have to pass the Troll Hills and the Trollback Forest, as well as then making your way across Tradeway.
Those sound worse.
Oh, every time I hear trade,
I have a feeling the trolls are much more prevalent there.
But yeah, with a natural 20, that's what you essentially gathered as well, and relayed that to the rest of the people, I'm assuming.
Hello?
Hello? Did you not hear any of that?
I missed the last little bit.
Oh, okay. Basically, that's what you had... if you wanted to relay that to everyone else, you could as well.
Alright, I will relay that to everybody else.
Okay, so basically everyone else also now knows that going across the coastline, which was told by Onthar and Leosin originally, would lead you to the Troll Hills and the Trollback Forest.
I suddenly feel like the swamp's a quicker way. There's been, from my understanding, fewer troll sightings there.
Honestly, I'll be real with you guys. I don't trust that cartel person at all.
Well, I mean, they call themselves a cartel. How trustworthy can they really be?
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, the entire point of it is we don't trust anyone here.
That's another. Yeah, that's all.
Anyone could be.
It could be you.
You're not getting paid. God, get out of this. You know you're welcome to this card. You are a safety hazard to my employer.
You're not treated as a slave.
Basically.
Well, we can't really break off from the caravan either, because, well, like you said. And
As you're discussing,
Let's figure out which card we want to get. Yeah.
essentially, as you're also discussing, a lot of the cart owners, or what look to be like the head figures of each cart, kind of appear to like create a circle that's discussing. The Alan also like looks around, sees your group, is just like, "Come on, we're deciding what we're gonna do."
Alright, we'll just go decide. I'm pretty sure probably doesn't care what we decide if we pair up with. I'm pretty sure.
I have a feeling he does. I have a feeling he also he cares, but he doesn't care enough that he actually wants to see it.
Yeah. So
He's
we'll leave it. I guess
terrified of the decision.
the best thing we can do is leave it to you and Jackal, because Mr. Sergeant and Mr. Important Bodyguard.
Let's go.
I'll come along to give advice, but
You're leaving more decision making up to me, okay.
don't worry. Like I said, I'll give advice.
I'll leave it up to you guys also.
Yeah, at this point, it's we're the two figureheads of this cart. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I can give orders to people. Gopher, go in this guy.
Gopher, go my.
Alright, come on, Gopher. I guess we're going.
Go.
Still be taking a bath.
So you three are going. Is Jacqueline just staying by the cart then?
Yep.
Okay.
She will have no part of this.
Zakaris, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay by the cart, or are you going with it as well?
I'll stand by the cart and
No.
just discuss with my sister.
Okay, so the two tieflings stay by the cart.
Alright, you two can have fun. We'll go. We'll tell you when we come back. Alright, so let's go discuss.
So as you approach, you can see the woman that's there that had the pigtails before. She is indeed half tiefling and half elvish. She's
Abomination.
got strapped to each appendage on her leg. She has 3 boxes that have essentially small arrows jutting out of them, and a wire that's on each side, and that's strapped to her forearms and her calves on her legs as well.
Boxes.
Basically, they're like huge compartments. They're not like
I thought you. I was thinking.
they're not like they're basically like compartments. No, not
Like
really.
The blade swords.
No, it's less of that, and it's more
They're
of
like wrist crossbows.
yeah. Basically, they're like if she pulled the string, you can imagine the arrows would fly out.
Oh, okay.
You also see Alan, who's there. He's got his rapier to his side. The barrel owner has actually just brought the entire cart up as well. The large bulbous man is also there, as well as that. I think that's everyone. Oh. That is everyone.
They're everyone.
Everyone's here. We got.
So the woman, after you guys essentially get there, the woman starts out. So what's our plan here? I've got a lot of business to take care of, so if we could wrap this up real quick, I got a lot of stuff to build.
Well, Gopher.
I'm so torn.
Does anyone have any preference who they want to be paired up with? Here.
At that point, the barrel owner will essentially pitch in. Well, I might have joined the wrong caravan, essentially. I only have liquor. I don't have any other guards. So, he flicks his things, gives you like the finger gun. But so if I might just be a third party that stays nearby someone.
Welcome aboard. I am also a third party.
Well, great, but I have a cart, so mine's going to take up a little bit more space. I can at least provide beer. That's because my initial business, I sold mead, and it's a very fine mead, but I have sold all of my mead, so I'm taking it back to Waterdeep, so that way I can try to reestablish my mead storage. The rest of my liquor, which nobody seems to like, is my beer. And apart from that, I don't have any other way to essentially use it. So I'm going to be using it as payment for hopefully any freelance guards that might be able to essentially help me.
Alright.
Go for no.
You're hired already.
Go for no.
I'll take that position, I guess, for now, until other words. Hey, I'm not hired by anyone. Nothing I can say.
So you'll ride with my cart then?
Yes, for the time being, at least.
Okay.
So we're just following us now.
Yeah. You okay? Oh, well, I have no right to say that, so I can't make that judgment.
Well,
That's up to you
if
guys.
you're going to pay with him, he's got to be with us.
Oh, he's paying us with his liquor. So.
You want to be 200 feet from us?
He'll be rear guard.
Who says he's the rear? Who says he won't be in front of us?
Yeah, we don't know the placement of the cards yet, so. But anyways, all that's that could be
All this part's
decided.
not following us.
So as you say that, a lot of them kind of like look at each other, and Alan pitches in, well, my group can kind of fend for ourselves. All that we would realistically need is other protection. So personally, I wouldn't like to go with the rich man over there. He kind of seems to be a bit of a prick. And at that point, the large man goes, "A fucking disgrace."
Well, my group specializes in mostly long range and supporting fire, so we could back you guys up in any kind of situation. We could be behind you if you want.
And after saying that, the woman also says, "Well, I don't want to be with the fat lard. It takes forever to move with him on the horse." And at that point, the large man again just kind of turns. I have never met such disgraceful people in my entire life.
You're not helping your cause.
Well,
Clearly, nobody understands royalty in this pot.
well, you can have someone like us backing you up, or you can have anyone else here with you. And honestly, if I had to say anything besides my own group, I guess I trust you guys the most. That
Ooh.
much. Well, besides our group, out of everyone else here, I have to say I trust you guys a little bit better.
Which you guys?
Which
Alan's group.
Okay, because I was
Okay.
talking as both the woman and
Yes.
the
Yeah, I
bulbous
was
man
really
first.
confused.
Okay, so you're talking to Alan about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you shook my hand. That'd be greatly appreciated if we could join forces on this adventure. That'd be greatly appreciated.
Two men can join in.
You're not there. Anyways,
So, what do you
keep the
think,
bulbous
Gopher?
man
You think
away
that'll be
from you.
okay? We take rear from these guys behind them?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay,
And
so
where's your alcohol truck going at this point then?
I guess, if anything, he could be behind our cut then. How about that?
Okay.
Alright. But where is your cut to be placed in the group? In the front, in the middle, in the back?
well, so essentially there starts to become bickering between both the woman and the
The fat lord.
the fat lard.
The fat lord, I should say.
the lard lord.
Oh my god.
Essentially, they start to argue, and the woman is just shouting back, well, I have a lot of business that I need to take care of, so a lot of my machinery, if it falls off, I'm going to need somebody to be able to grab it and bring it back. And the lard lord then just goes, well, if it clearly fell off your cart, then it's not even worth picking up, now is it? And they start to argue. Alan turns to you and says, personally, I would like the Grand Maven to be in the center, so that way it doesn't have any risk of being attacked. Personally.
We'll try to go
part
for
of alcohol behind you then.
It's going to be 500 feet behind them, so...
So essentially,
No, it's 50.
it's essentially the pairs. It's 50 between each
Oh,
other
it's 50 each one.
for the pairs. Then beyond that is 200 feet. So that way, in
Because
case
we're doing a
complications.
triplet right now. It's
Yeah.
So you guys wouldn't mind alcohol being 100 feet? If anything, if we get into a situation, I'll tell our driver to get the alcohol away from the fight. Because that can cause a big problem. Especially with fire.
Well, beer isn't flammable.
Don't.
I sold liquor, but by liquor, I have a barrel, maybe. The beer is beer.
Oh.
I have 19 barrels of beer. Because nobody likes it.
Anyways, Alan, if you do bring this along, I will offer you some beer as well. Your group, if you so choose.
The beer cartel or the beer cart owner. The beer owner turns and says, I mean, I can't throw beer around everywhere.
Not everyone, just the people who help, who are in to help.
We have a 30-day trek with us. 19 barrels of beer might be able to suffice for a cart a day. We can't give out that much, otherwise I'll be broke.
I'd take a barrel myself.
Do you go over to try to lift a barrel?
I do.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and make an athletics check.
No, he has to make a deception check.
No, you can make an athletics check.
Randall's not gonna let him. Randall's literally going, go for no.
That's fine. You can go ahead and shout at him all you want. You can't decide what he does. 19 easily. You're just like one arm strong arming it.
We lost the barrel already.
He doesn't get away with
And
Randall's
from
the
him.
entire time. Go for it.
Max, don't make
What were you
Tyler
saying?
edit more than
Knowing
he
from
already
that,
has.
he's probably going to be coming for more. But we throw what we can around. But you make the call mostly.
I would put the barrel down for now. When we rest, I will give you enough to fill water skin.
Alright, I put the barrel down.
Thank you.
Very harshly so that it bursts open.
I whispered to him, watch out for that one. He is a great drinker, but he drinks.
That's fine. If he wants to drink the beer, then that's fine. Anyways, so what's our plan? And
I'll get into agreement, Alan.
I'm
not sure if you're the one in charge of your little group, but
I mean, that's why I'm here. The only problem that I see is these two, and as you guys have been discussing with the beer owner, the woman and the lard lord has been completely just getting more agitated at each other, as if they're...
So the lady's the one with the machinery, right?
Yeah, she's the one that has, like, the compartments on her arms, and the cart is just full of tools.
Okay.
Self carton here, man. At this point, and leave the Lard Lord alone.
I would go up to them. I personally, for you two, I wouldn't like the equipment cart to be in the front. More chance of it being destroyed from, let's say, rock slides or monster attack or troll attack.
But if it's in the back and something falls, then I'm never gonna find it again.
How about somewhere near the middle as well?
But the fat man doesn't want to be in the back. He sees himself as some high prince that just is an amazing person and must be protected at all costs. She also does this voice in her own beater.
Hey,
I whispered to her, but hey,
we can have the gap between us if we see anything look
if
right.
he's in the front, if there's trouble, he'll be the first one into it, and he might be the first one to die.
So if I'm behind him and I have to stare at his fat ass,
You don't-
which I'll be fine with because I don't have to see it that often, luckily, because I'll be blind otherwise. Then the Lard just goes, and So if we're in the middle, then where are you all going to be?
How many characters are there in total?
So essentially, here's the problem that is essentially with it. The head cart, that is the tarped one, isn't going to have a partner with them. Behind them is 200 feet, so there's only 5 other carts as well.
So that's us 5. Then.
Put the Lord there, the machinery behind it, and we'll fall behind
Yeah, we can do it.
200 feet.
And then it'll be Alan's carts, and then us.
So you're in the back.
The beer will be in the back, yes.
The beer in the backpack, or you in the backpack?
Beer in the back. Oh, I'm with the beer, so.
Well, yeah, you're with the beer. So you're in the backpack.
Yep.
Then it goes.
You got a marker?
It's us.
Here. I've got a table. I got a table prepared for it. So we've got the tarp cart, and then Lard. Lard, 50 feet behind is Mechanic's lady. Is Mechanic, and then 50 or 200 feet behind that would be Alan's cart.
Wait, I thought Alan was in between the beer and ours.
Alan. It would go Alan. 50 feet behind Alan is your cart.
Because he wants to be in the center. That's the center of.
Oh,
And then 200 feet behind that would be the beer.
No, it'll be about 50 feet, because we're still kind of paired with them, but.
Okay, so you're gonna. You're doing a triple cart. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me do beer.
But if anything, we will stay a little bit further, if anything, then. How about that?
Okay, that's fine. So you're gonna have your.
Oh, no, we'll be paired. I'd rather be as close as possible.
Okay, so it's gonna go tarp cart in front, 200 feet. Behind that is Lard, and then behind it, 50 feet behind him is Mechanic. I love that name, by the way. 50 feet behind him is Mechanic. 200 feet behind that is Alan. 50 feet yours. 50 feet beer.
Yep.
Cool.
Me do.
So.
Are we all in agreement?
The woman looks over at the Lard. As far as I can tell, sure. And Alan goes, "Good. I'm leaving. You guys can discuss. I have shit to do."
We do too. We go back. Beer guy. I never really asked for your name.
Call me Mean Mead.
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 Alright,
Alright,
well,
let's go.
I'll call you Mead. How about Mead? How about that?
Sure.
I'm Ryder.
It's just a brand name. That's fine.
Alright, Ryder Hopkins. I guess I'll be your escort for a bit.
Well, thank you.
We have found Eminem.
Okay. So.
Alright, we go tell.
I already.
So, while you guys are discussing this, Zakaris and Jacqueline, is there anything that you guys are doing?
I mean, she was just going to remain silent and just sit the entire time. He came over to her.
Alright, Zakaris, is there anything that you wanted to do with Jacqueline?
I have absolutely nothing to say. I'm just standing next to her.
Alright, so the 2 tieflings are standing like statues, each with their own horse. Tethered, essentially.
Randall just walks up to this.
And you are just stoic. It's as if you are just standing as proud statues of one 400-pound tiefling and the other a 100 and something pound
Randall just starts
tiefling.
applauding.
Both
And then
wearing
whacks their
roguish
horses.
kind of gear.
Okay,
With one wearing a devil's mask as well, mind you.
I think. Did you hear me? Randall just walks up, pauses, and then whacks their horses.
Alright, that's fine. You can whack the horse. It doesn't move.
Damn.
These are very well trained horses.
That's supposed to be the signal of the go.
Well, not unless the rain is
Person on Randall.
What?
I cast Hold Person on Randall.
That's a wisdom saving throw, yes?
Yeah.
Make a wild magic. Oh no, you're druid. Never mind, you're good. So go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw. Do you not have dice?
I have dice.
Oh, okay.
I gotta open this. I can't remember my wisdom.
Not very high, I think.
No, it's not.
It's a 0?
Yeah.
Alright.
15.
What's your spell save DC?
That is my spell save DC.
So you save. So as you kind of slap the back of the horse, and as the character just looks down at you, a couple of conjurings from his fingers, you feel this like wave of energy kind of start to suck you into the ground, and you just go, no, and you just keep walking as if nothing happened.
I off as I walk by.
Okay.
Nice try.
All right.
And I get on the cart.
Jacqueline will cast Infestation on me.
Randall's not on the cart, by the way.
That's
Oh,
fine.
God.
Is infestation's a cantrip? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You do not need to roll for wild magic.
I do not.
You do not.
Okay.
So essentially, as you, so what does that do? What does infestation do?
Bugs.
A bunch of hornet-like creatures appear around his face, and he takes 1d6 of poison damage.
There's a saving throw involved, right?
Yeah.
Most things like that typically have a saving throw.
Especially as cantrip.
Yeah, especially cantrips. And if it doesn't do anything, then it won't even do damage.
Cloud of parasites to appear on target. Constitution save. If you fail, he takes 1d6 of poison and runs in random direction, 5 feet, unless blocked.
That's on block.
I mean, you can jump off the cart.
Yeah.
Alright, so roll a Constitution saving throw as everyone's now just throwing spells at Randall.
10.
That's not enough.
Not even
I'm going to do
close.
Vicious Mockery.
Vicious mockery.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Randall just leaves at this point.
Randall just takes a horse and leaves.
Okay. So he takes a 6 of poison. Randall takes max damage of poison.
You take 6 points of poison damage. And you move 5 feet on the cart.
In
Random direction.
5 feet. What I say that was?
The top is usually 1, the top of his figure. From my point of view, so.
No, like I actually put down like what.
Pretty sure it should be.
Like which direction? You go 5 feet east.
You
run
leap
5
off
feet
the
east.
cart.
And I just start leaving. I actually just keep walking.
Alright, so Randall now is walking away.
Huh. There goes his personal bodyguard.
Randall just keep walking.
Is anyone doing anything as Randall is literally leaving? He's walking away.
I don't know. I can't really.
I grabbed the reins of the cart.
Oh, so wait, me.
So is Randall leaving? Like, what's Randall's goal here?
I don't know. He's just gonna keep walking.
Oh my god. Okay. So, Randall is essentially walking until nearly out of sight.
Okay.
What is, so you were talking to Mead? Yes?
Yeah. Do you, by chance, have any combat ability?
I've got barrels.
Alright, so, you don't fight.
Not really. No.
Okay.
I have a crossbow. I could do that.
Right.
I have very limited magic, if that helps.
Okay, what magic?
Not very good magic.
Well, if anything, if we get up against some sort of combat, get out of the way, but try to shoot some arrows if you could in a safe distance.
I'll do what I can, I guess.
Exactly, so...
Okay, so,
Does Randall have enough time to walk to the back of the shop?
which shop?
Cinnabon?
Celavon? You can, yeah. It takes you a couple minutes. It'll take you about like 5-10 minutes.
I'm randomly playing potion at this point.
You're gonna go buy what? So you make your way to Celavon Goods, essentially, and you see Celavon in there.
I don't know. I haven't really decided. I'm just going with shit.
What are you doing?
I haven't decided.
What's everyone else doing while he decides what he wants to do with a horse shop?
I'm steering the carriage.
Okay.
I think I'm just going to try
I mean,
and
I'm
sit
just
with him.
discussing with the mead, so...
Okay.
Randall just shows up and he's not riding with the
So Randall now emerges walking towards you.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, no, they're actually trying to kill me. I'm going to sit here for a bit.
Alright, that's fine. I don't know what happened, but okay.
Okay.
Wait, is Randall within earshot of Jacqueline? Did she hear what he just said about trying to kill him?
There's 60 feet, so I mean,
Probably not.
nah, probably not. Not unless he was shouting it or something. Anyways, After about 10 more minutes that pass, the cartel, or the tarp's cart, essentially the same man, he has his hood back down, he runs up the horse and says, "We're preparing to leave. Everyone ready? Good, great, we're leaving." And at this point, he looks at you as you now hold the reins. You're going to start going.
Alright.
Yeah, you just go, and the horses now start to move forwards. The beer owner also starts to do the same, and you can see that the carts finally start to move as you are now finally leaving Baldur's Gate after an altercation with a bunch of spells to attack Randall. Anyways, I can finally change the music from Baldur's Gate music now. Okay, so
Make it louder.
I mean, I don't want to be too loud. It's right next to the microphone. Where's my travel music? There it is. Okay. So.
What is fucking Minecraft?
Yeah. Okay. So. It is excruciatingly boring. Immediately you recognize you have been traveling for maybe an hour. You finally left the outskirts of the city. And as it was very recognizable when you were leaving the inn to head towards the caravan, that the ground had essentially been getting worse and worse. It has now procured the worst possible situation. It is just slick, muddy. The road you can barely see because the only thing that's distinguishing about it is the slight color change from that to the rest of the dirt dead ground that's nearby. There's also just puddles of what look to be like water that has this viscous like coloration to it that has a very different as the truck drives by, passing your cartel as you guys are more or less making your way through to that's a loud cart.
That's all caught right now.
Yeah, that's your cart. That's the
that's the
mechanics.
Lard man.
That's the Lard man as he's walking forwards. No. Okay. Anyways,
How fast is the cart going?
so essentially your travel speed right now is you're essentially going, because your normal horses at full speed would be able to travel about 60 feet at full speed during situations. Being at a normal pace, you're only going about 30 feet.
Okay, so Randall can very easily just get back up to his cart.
Yeah. If you wanted to walk, you could.
Yeah, Randall does. Just gets back up to his cart and says, "I go for now."
Okay, so basically you shove Gopher back as you just come sprinting back up to the cart.
I just hop back up with Gopher.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Like, think they cool down right now? They're gonna try to kill me anymore.
So you're basically back here with the rest of them. Okay. So, as you're traveling, the smell of the ground itself is just intoxicating. It is not pleasant at any means. And apart from just the landscape,
Oh my god, you know what I just realized?
what's that?
I forgot about the other guards cart. We have a caravan of 4.
Yeah, you have 3 other dudes
Oh,
with
yeah,
you.
They have their own
What?
caravan.
Lynn, you're still in the front,
I
right?
completely...
Well, they're in a wagon attached to your cart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't have horses themselves.
Oh, never mind.
It's literally just like it's like coach on a cart.
I just read that, you guys.
Is comedy. Regardless, it's not pleasant. Regardless, the ground, and it just begins to reek.
Is that not involved, Jonathan?
No, he looked up the term for intoxicating to tell me that it's exhilarating.
It means the exact opposite of what the context he's using.
Regardless, it's not pleasant. Anyways, though the landscape isn't very pleasant to look at or smell or anything of the sort, there is one benefit to it, and that it's very flat. So it's very easy to see if there's any threats to approach you, which there is not. The only thing that you can actually see is large amounts of birds just kind of circling above your caravan and the entirety of the
What
group.
kind of birds?
They're very high. You can make a perception check if you want.
Yeah,
This is about like 4 or 5 hours into the trip as well, when you finally left the outskirts.
Perception?
Yeah. By the way, you are...
Roll.
Hold on. You are proficient in perception because you're an elf.
Oh, yeah.
So you can put your perception thing on there.
Okay. So, put that plus my what then?
Your wisdom plus your proficiency.
Oh, I don't have any wisdom at all, so...
It's plus 3 then, plus whatever.
Okay, so 17.
17?
I would 14.
Okay.
Because I'm also going to make a perception check.
Yeah, you can make a
I
perception
use my
check.
passive wisdom, which is 16. But
Yeah, that's fine. You
Oh,
don't-
yeah. You know what? While I should have said this while we were traveling, I wanted to hear whispers. If anything.
You are hearing You are hearing...
Lord.
You're not hearing jack shit as you're sitting alone with your beard, man. You are hearing barrels rolling around and shaking
When is
liquids.
this guy going to drink us? We've been on this for a while.
Yeah, you're not hearing anything. Any kind of whispering, you're hearing from the ground going... That's it. As it's getting slurpy
How about
sounds.
this? I'll keep it active for just in case anything happens.
I will tell you this now, you're not going to hear whispers on this trip. That's what I know. Currently, you're in the back of...
just in case we get surprise attack.
That's keeping an active perception. That's not keeping a wisdom. That's not checking for whispers.
How was my action for
Regardless. So both of you can actually witness that the large birds are very high up. And they're still, like, pretty decently big. There's about 20 or so circling birds that are above you. You can't give, like, real detailed depictions, but...
Can I make
Hey,
a
me.
check to try to determine what
Yeah,
I
you can
got?
go ahead.
Hey, Mead,
Mm-hmm.
are you from the area?
I mean, I come to Baldur's Gate pretty often.
Do you know what those birds all up there are?
They're just giant.
They're just giant birds, dude. They're birds. We are in the... Let me check my his memory bank of the map. We are in what's called the Fields of the Dead currently, so that's why you can see that there's no farmland nearby here.
Have you traveled over here often?
Yeah, generally.
So, you see these birds often, they're not hostile by chance?
I mean, I know that they're birds. I always just thought they were vultures, personally,
That's what I'm
because
assuming.
they're
But
circling like them, and they're kind of...
waiting for one of us to keel over.
Or break away, something like that. I mean, there's 20 of them. I'm sure
Yeah.
20 of them could affect a cart.
Well, stay close by just in case if something happens, especially for, us, the card 2.
The cart of 2, yeah. And 3 horses. Yeah, 3
And
horses.
3 horses, you.
And suddenly just take one of the horses and fly.
It's a fucking rock.
Yeah, all the vultures come pick up the horses from the beer and just take the horses. Like,
Nobody else understands what that is except for Max. A rock is a... So you know the blue dragon? A rock is about twice the size of that dragon.
Oh my fucking god.
It's a gargantuan wind elemental bird.
Big bird.
It's a real big bird.
No, I know what that is.
ROC rock, not a rock. It's not a it's a very big. But they're classified. They have wingspans of about 200 feet.
each wing?
Yeah, they're big. They're real big birds.
Like,
They're ancient dragon-sized birds.
I think
They pretty much should eat dragons.
They pretty much are.
Okay.
Anyways.
They actually do eat dragons.
They sometimes do, yeah. They eat the younger ones. Anyways, so yeah, that's what you see essentially. Is you see the big birds.
In this land, are you familiar with this muddy terrain?
Yeah, it's pretty. Honestly, it's been a little bit dry. If we've gotten rain, it tends to get a little bit gross.
And that smell, I'm guessing just from
It's the dead.
very soon. Well, hopefully we get. How long will it take to get out of this area?
Well, until you reach Troll Claws, really.
And
It'll take, and then we're going to a swamp, so it won't be much better. I would say we're probably going to be in terrain like this for majority of the trip.
alright.
At least until we get to Dragonspear.
Alright.
Then Tradeway should be a little bit more prepared, but...
Would you know by any chance if we hit any rivers at some point?
No. There's no water apart from the Winding Way rivers that are in Troll Claws. That's actually the main reason why it became a swamp, is because the small amount of water that river provided created a swamp, more or less, in the fields of the dead.
Oh, so really, we have your beer.
Yeah. Or if it rains.
That's it. Well, glad I took you along then.
I don't know if beer's going to keep you...
it's better than nothing. All I have is this water skin of water, so...
Fair enough. Anyways.
I mean, better than if you took and Gopher.
As Gopher gives the side,
Gopher just keeps looking back at the beer.
He's just looking over the cart, just.
And I do the eyebrow thing.
You guys,
Gopher down.
You are tall enough to probably stand on the cart where the reins would be to be able to peer over the cart.
Yeah, and then as he does that, and the hours move on, and he just starts vibrating.
The cart just starts. The cart just starts to slow down.
The cart starts vibrating. The guy on the inside. Fuck! We're under attack.
No. Anyways.
It's fine. It's just Gopher.
Okay.
Here's me yelling at Gopher.
So. The hours still continue to pass. The birds are still kind of following you. And it's not just following your cart from the height that they're at. They're about 300 feet in the air.
Just no one looks sick or wounded.
They're also like branching off paths to like circle around other carts and everything like that. They're actually leaving some of the carts alone. They're leaving the cart with all the mechanical pieces alone, the cart with the robed figures alone, and the surprisingly enough, the mead cart as well.
Hold on.
Focusing on.
They're focusing on Alan's, the bulbous man's, and yours.
Tyler, would being from the desert, would Jacqueline know a little bit more about vultures or not?
Yeah, you can make a nature check, or a nature or survival check.
I'll just roll.
Actually, it'll just be a nature check. Actually,
Nature check.
Nature is intelligence based, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
16.
Yeah, so you know that vultures from your, especially from traveling across the desert for several months, the Djinni Desert, to get to Greenest to begin with, there were several times that vultures would circle you. They usually broke off after a few hours, or they essentially would stay near a nest. If there's no real life around here, typically there wouldn't be vultures either, because then the food that would be remaining here wouldn't allow them to essentially be able to feed, especially this amount of them.
The only threat that a very alive caravan like us would have is if someone broke off and looked like they were going slower.
To vultures, yes.
Because they're not inherently hostile unless you're dead.
They pick off the weak much like animals do, like predators.
Yeah.
Or they eat dead life.
So, yeah, but they will only attack like something that is...
when they know that they can win.
Yeah.
Welcome to the animal kingdom.
Yep. So after the better part of another hour, I'll allow those who have been kind of keeping eye on them to make another perception check.
Jacqueline only glanced up at them.
You said perception?
Yeah, perception.
Perception is
12.
Okay.
Hang on, I got a throw. I forget how many modifiers.
That's clever.
I know. I mean, the chair doesn't work so well.
22? Alright, you don't notice because they're not really focusing around you. You definitely notice they're getting lower. They're now about 150 feet away from you.
Go for get ready, arrows.
Alright, I
These
get my
birds
crossbow
are
ready.
These birds are coming lower, and they're still here after quite a while.
With a 22 as well,
I don't.
they're at the height where you can actually get more distinguishing factors. They have horns.
These birds have horns. Go for ready across.
I cock
Jacqueline, the birds have horns. You ready to
Birds have
kill?
what? Does she see the horn? Does she look
After
at
he
the-
points it out, yes. The rest of you can also see
Can
that they
do
have
I look and
horns.
see him just freaking out? And
You can see Randall like going like this, and then he kind of like goes,
Hey,
they have horns, and then you can see Jacqueline look up.
Don't stray too far from the cut, and get ready your crossbow.
Okay. At this point, you can also see that 200 feet beyond you. You can also see some of the guards that are on the Lard Lord's cartel, essentially, are kind of looking up, looking around. There's like one of them is very young, pale, blonde face, and he just goes,
What would it take for Randall to yell they have horns loud enough?
just you can shout it.
Well,
I
no.
shouted in hopes
Yeah,
that
Jacqueline will go to wherever she will shout. I guess to wherever the all those 3 guards with their.
They're right behind you.
Yeah, she'll just be like, birds, bad, ready for fight. Yes.
Randall just yells at the top of his lungs, the birds have horns!
Okay. We're gonna roll initiative because after you're also kind of discussing this, they have dropped fast. They are essentially dive bombing at you and are about 60
Our
feet.
cards in particular?
There are
Or all the
8.
cards?
So they're not surprise attacking us.
They're not surprise attacking you because you were able to see that they were diving down. They are 60 feet above you. There are 8 on your cart, 8 on Alan's cart, and then there's another 4. Oh no, sorry. There's 4 on Alan's cart, and then there's 8 more on the bulbous man's cart. That's 200 feet ahead of you.
Oh, they're after that meat.
So
From this height as well. So we'll roll initiative here.
Great.
yes.
I got
Attacked by birds.
You're getting attacked by. I'll show you a picture of what they look like.
Yeah, let's see what they look like.
They are not pleasant.
Ah, fucking God.
They
And
have.
this is when you'll put a picture on screen for the.
Yeah, I would put a normal picture on the screen for the viewers at this point as well.
20 for Randall.
Okay, let me get to my initiative tracker first.
Your deck is higher than mine, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Got a lot.
Okay, I'm gonna need to roll initiative for quite a few people. Let me roll. I'm just gonna roll for Alan's cart in general. All right, Alan. Good job. Good job.
No, don't tell me you got.
You got a 1.
Damn it, Alan. I swear to God, I think he fucking dies. I like Alan.
Please do not
Only
let
a guy that
us We have to pick up Alan's cart now too. He's dead.
Wait, what is your dex? Plus 7? Oh, 3. Plus 3? Oh, mine's plus
Let me edit the name from crew to Alan.
It's the actual value that you have to.
All right, Ryder.
Oh, 20.
20. Gopher.
13.
13. Same as I already had in there. Zakaris.
7.
7.
Hey, at least you didn't get a 1.
Randall.
20.
Ooh.
His dex is higher than mine, so.
Jacqueline.
Feeling pretty good about her roll now. 11.
Ooh. Let me roll for the creatures. All right, this dice sucks. That's another 1.
Who has better dex, him or the crew?
The creatures definitely have a better dex.
Damn it.
They're way. My phone changed the Peritons to Peru.
We're getting attacked by.
We're getting attacked by birds, Peru.
We're suddenly.
I'm also gonna roll for mead as well. I need to get a new D20 because fuck that dice.
Civilization.
Hey, there you go, mead. Good old natural 17.
Yeah, the guy who's almost useless.
He's got a crossbow.
I'm also gonna roll for Lard Lord as well. Hey, makes sense for Lard Lord. Got another 1. Jesus, that is 3 natural 1s on my part, by the way, out of 4 dice.
Keep it up.
I'm gonna need to roll. No, that's fine. I'm getting rid of them now. Here comes the natural 20s. Now let me get a picture.
Wait, did you roll for mechanic?
They're not attacking mechanic.
Oh, they're not attacking mechanic? Okay.
Essentially, unless you guys are going up to that caravan, I'm gonna just play out their rolls later on. They're not gonna be essentially part of your combat, especially since you're 200 feet away. You're probably not gonna be theirs because at this point, the horses are all beginning to panic and they're going full sprint as fast as they can. So essentially, the carts are going 45 feet. Your horses at max speed can go 60, so you're only moving 15 feet on the map.
So wait,
Unless you not move, and then you're getting left behind 60 feet.
Oh shit.
so what's happening? What's going on?
Basically, the way that the cartel movement is happening, the carts are moving 45 feet base every turn.
Mhm.
You are, as such, to keep up to where you are also moving 45 feet. So you only have 15 feet of movement on a horse.
Only 15 on a horse.
Yeah,
Don't
otherwise...
get off the cart.
Because, yeah, if you get off the cart, you're getting
Oh.
left behind 45 feet.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Yeah.
You would have to.
Book it.
So
Haul
stay in line.
ass.
You would have to.
Randall would be the only one that could keep up, and
Yeah.
Zakaris who could turn into an animal. Because Randall can run 60 feet with still keeping an action. Otherwise, you're going to getting left behind.
I can too, but I have to cast a spell.
Oh, yeah, because
I mean, can I would fly?
that also helps. That gives you a fly speed of 60 feet, so...
Because you have to cast, and then you could start catching.
So here's what the things look like, by the way.
Oh yeah, that looks pretty badass.
Yeah.
And one of them is massive in comparison to the rest. He has
Like
a...
my dick.
There's
We
a...
have a dire one.
Nope, he's got... It's different. He
The
has
badass one.
a pulsating black heart that's got, like, on its chest that's, like, pushing through these black veins that are leading
That
around
don't
it.
look good.
Oh,
Does
my
he also-
flask.
Oh no.
Black flask. That's what the mean man says to you.
Oh.
Because you
yeah.
just shout that. Well, I mean, no, that's a out of game.
Yeah,
person.
that was kind of this.
But yeah, that was a metagame, as some would say. Anyways,
So
Wait,
we
does
have
anyone see
eight
that
to
black
deal
card at
with.
least?
it's attacking your cart, so yes. In
My
fact, no, it's attacking their cart.
Oh, okay.
It also, you can also see that there is several of them. There's one that's also attacking the Alan's cart, or not Alan's cart. There's also one attacking the Bulbous Man's cart. So there's
One.
yours, and then there's one more that's attacking the Bulbous Man's cart.
So wait, all the birds are focused on us?
There's 8 on you, 4 on Alan, 8 on the Bulbous Man.
Me, I'm gonna go up ahead, so if anything happens, scream for my name.
And yeah, I'm just gonna have them be up here. So this is essentially where you guys are. They are 60 feet above you, dive bombing. Like their horns are down, charging straight at you. So let me get their figurines out because there's 8 of them.
Why can't we ever just like go to a place and just get there?
Oh, yeah,
That's
right.
not D&D.
Yeah, that's not D&D.
You're also in a place called the Land of Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To be
which
fair.
would make sense.
The
if they
field
were
of the dead.
vultures instead of whatever
Yeah.
the fuck these
You don't know what
things
these. You can make a. I'll let you make a nature check quick
are. Are they
How
like
about
a
the
type of
carrots?
vulture?
to figure out why they're here.
Can the druid figure it out?
Yeah. If I'll say the druid can also make a nature check.
Let me see what these are, guys.
Roll
Let's
the one.
see. Not very good. That's 11.
11?
11, Tyler.
And
Yeah, that's not enough.
13.
That also is not enough because you're not seeing one of these creatures before.
My
demon vultures. They're demon vultures. They're vultures with demon damage at this point.
It's the devil itself!
They're not good, whatever they
They're
are.
tiefling vultures. They should be helping.
Alright.
Exactly.
Where are my figurines? I'm gonna start grabbing everything that has wings to use. So we got a pixie over here. We got a demon. We got moths.
Damn.
Yeah, I can't find all my
Everything but
things.
bird.
Got a vampire too.
Everything but bird.
Yeah, I don't have any. I don't have bird figurines. I got a little brass dragon I'll use for the big dude.
We got fly.
I can't bird. I can't recreate that.
1, 2, 3,
Versus,
4, 5,
seagull
6, 7, 8. Okay.
Don't, because remember this is going on. You know.
Yeah, okay, so
It's just honking.
we've got the big one.
Okay.
There are 2 here.
One has a cape.
Don't worry about that. One is directly above the cart as
Oh
well.
god.
And then there are 2 over here.
No.
It's Mothra.
Yeah, it is Montrose. Okay. And the rest of this is just expanse because of the field. Okay.
So,
Time, yes, what?
So for future reference, If we only use the middle of, really like the middle of this,
We
why
should scoot it. Yep, we should scoot it. I will do that after. I made that realization a little late.
Okay.
Anyways,
Wow.
so top of the initiative order is Randall.
Heck yeah.
I'm just gonna start unloading Eldritch Blast onto these things.
Okay. Which one?
What's the top of this?
Yeah, let's go with the one on the card.
That's heading straight down.
Yeah.
It's still like 10 feet above the cart right now.
Yeah.
Or sorry, no, they're all like 60 feet or so above you. It's kind of rough to decide how far they are because they're still moving very fast, but they're roughly around 60 feet. So you can shoot at it. Yeah, go ahead. Make your 2 attacks because it's Eldritch Blast, so you have 2 shots now.
No wild magic?
No wild magic.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Is this from because we're off the continent?
No, you can't tell. You're still on the continent of Faerun.
Yeah.
For the viewers, essentially, I would be summarizing this later on in another video that I'll be posting about the story so far. But throughout the entire time that they've been playing this, they have been having to roll wild magic surges for every single dice roll. This was, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspired by, what's his name? In Heroes and Halfwits from RoosterTeeth. So, but I've changed it a little bit to my own type of situation. Yeah.
We may want to refrain from referencing more popular things until we get.
I'm just saying where it came from, that's all.
Okay.
Anyways. But yeah, so
First one's a 14.
14, that hits. Why's my music stopping?
Second one's 16.
Second one, 16, also hits.
First one's 9 there. No, wait.
And you're shooting the same one, or?
Yeah.
Okay. 9, and then the second one is...
Okay.
I think your charisma's +3. Or no, +4, because I think you're 18.
I have a thing that shows how much damage I do.
Well, yeah, but it's based off... It just adds your charisma to it, so...
So that's 13.
13 for the first one?
Yep. 12 for the...
12 for the next one. So you just let your hand shoot out these 2 bullets, it just goes... It slams.
And I got the range.
The range?
Did I take the range? What?
No, I got the range.
You still want to have them? Okay.
So basically, you just hold out your hands, and yeah, you just flick out some Eldritch Blast that slam into the Periton, and you can see that its wings immediately just like have massive holes in it, and it just like gives the flat very like jaggedly. It's really hurt. Anything else you wanted to do? You don't really have much.
Can I hide?
No.
Well, I can. Yeah.
You can duck. I'll let you do that. That's the best that you got.
But he can't duck when they're birds.
That might play into factor. It doesn't matter. Ryder, you're up. So you are 50 feet behind.
I'm
just ready to just shoot.
gonna
over.
move up 15 feet.
Well, you're on the cart.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to. Well, so I can go 60 then. Oh,
So are you on the cart or you've been on your horse this entire
Yeah.
time? Okay, so you can move 15.
50, yeah, I'm gonna try to get up closer to the group.
There you go.
All right,
Oh god.
and hopefully I'm gonna go for a crossbow shot.
You'll be at disadvantage because they're still 60 feet up.
Yeah.
So go ahead and make a crossbow. Which one are you shooting
How
at?
far are they up?
They're 60 feet up, like roughly.
So how far are they from me in total?
From you in total, they're... from the closest one, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 45, and then 60 feet up as well. They're, with the triangle fashion, they're about 100 feet away from you.
Oh yeah, crossbow it is.
Go ahead and roll with disadvantage.
Okay, that's probably it. Yeah, 9.
9? You don't have your proficiency?
Is it? Yeah, it is. +4, isn't it? Yeah, +4.
What's your dex?
My dex? +5, 15.
So that should be +2, +3, so that should be 5.
10.
Still doesn't hit. But I'm just saying, because Rex's or Calvin's sheet's completely fucked up. It's like missing. He doesn't have his proficiency to 3 yet. He has a +8. He has an 18 in his stat, but only a +3 modifier for it. So all of his other skills that are involved with that are fucked up. He didn't change anything on his sheet, so he's just like screwed.
Yeah.
So I have to like spend like 5 minutes fixing it for him. Yeah. So you go to fire and just sails off to the distance, slamming down.
He whacks it with his wing.
Anything else you want to do? You still have the bonus action.
There's not much I can do.
I should also put mead down as well.
Yeah, I'll just go another crossbow.
Okay. Yeah, you really can't do anything. This will be mead for the time being. It's now Mead's turn. All he will do is also attempt to fire a crossbow with a disadvantage as well. That's actually not. Alright, yeah, he also misses. Goes, poof, and it just does the same exact thing. He actually aimed better than you did.
Nice shot!
It was closer than yours. And that's all he can really do. So go for it. Now it's up to you.
I'll shoot a crossbow at the same one
That he's-
Randall shot.
Alright, go ahead and make a shot.
Alright.
You're not at disadvantage either.
10. Well, let's see.
10 plus your dex plus proficiency.
12. I think. Oh, where's my
Your proficiency is plus 3.
Okay, so 14.
So 14. So yeah, that actually hits.
Oh man.
So go ahead, and it doesn't actually matter. You don't need to roll damage because it had 1 health. So you go to fire, and it just punctures into its chest and goes, and just falls back and actually slams onto the top of your cart.
Nice.
You hear on the inside, Harvey, "What the hell's going on?"
Birds with horns! Birds with horns!
So he shouts that. He shouts that. All you hear is Rex shouting, "Shut up!"
You're fine! You're going to be
You're
fine!
fine.
Look at me! Look at me!
I mean, you'll be fine.
Randall, this is why we don't like you!
Go for it. It's your turn. Well, you still have your bonus action if you want to do anything.
Dude, lie. Do it. This one time.
My bonus action
But
is
we're
lie
also
to
fine.
Harvey, saying there's nothing going on. You don't have to worry about it. Just go ahead.
All right,
and relax."
he's hysterical. So I was gonna have you make a.
He's not a very funny dude.
Yeah. Harvey's not a very happy
I
individual.
don't even assume I have to yell.
Jacqueline, you're up.
I assume he was just already hysterical.
He was hysteric before. Now that he's heard that there's things hitting his cart, he's freaking out.
I assume he couldn't even hear me.
He basically, to him, everything is terrible. He's dying and he's being attacked by the sparks.
He just
Birds with horns. They have wings now. They're coming to kill me.
He did. I feel like he's just too busy for freaking out to pay attention to it.
Zacharias, you're on deck, by the way.
He knows what he's doing.
Are you texting him?
And he texted me.
Oh my god.
Not texting a D.
You gotta have some way to convey your plans to Ryder, by the way. He is 70 feet away from you, so if you have plans with Ryder, you
Oh,
have to
no,
have
it's
some
not,
way.
it's not.
Okay. Okay. Because normally, I let it happen before because you guys were like 5 feet away from each other. But yeah, in this circumstance, if you were trying to make plans with each other, you gotta somehow shout that to each other.
Suddenly all the burns turn. into
They all
daggers.
see Ryder.
The caravan just continues on its own.
Anyways.
She's just gonna look at the one that's second closest to the cart.
Okay, so this one right here.
Yeah. And cast Firebolt.
Okay, so it does 2d10 if it hits, so go ahead and roll to attack.
2.
Because you're level 5 now, so your cantrips are increased.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
That's why I get 2 shots.
And I don't need to. I don't need to roll wild magic. She shudders a little bit at that reminder.
Yep.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
She's not worried about it right now, because there's something else to worry about.
Yep.
So she'll roll the hit.
Yep, go ahead and roll the hit.
He's a nice.
It's like a plus.
19.
19 definitely hits, so go ahead and roll 2d10.
It's too close.
15.
15 points of fire damage as you just go, and it just slams into it. You can see some of the feathers that it has. It's got like very peacock-esque kind of feathers, and some of them just like singe away and fall, just burn to a crisp. Are you igniting yourself?
She will choose not to.
Okay. This one right here.
The black one?
Yeah, this one right here. The one that's not dead.
The one that's now dead.
Shut up. It's falling over because it's in the crest of the chair.
Does it like burst into flames and die?
No, it is
Damn.
doing all right. It's hurt pretty bad though. You definitely wounded it.
Wait, is it the one with the black heart? Right?
No.
Oh.
The black heart's the one that I'm using the ancient brass dragon to resemble.
That's dragon's that one.
Not the ancient one, the young or that's a very
dragon.
tiny dragon for it too.
It's a dragon.
Yeah, the dragon basically. He's
Okay.
strong.
So what? She's a bonus action.
Yep, still bonus
What
action.
she will do is she will also ready incineration
Okay, so you cast incinerate. I'm gonna need you to roll a wild magic.
for that one.
Yes. What spell level are you using it at?
Just 2.
2. Okay. Casting at second level.
You okay? 'Cause
Yeah.
Do you have-
That's the base level.
No, it's first level normally. It's first level, and then second level if you wanted it to affect a third level spell. Remember?
Oh. Okay, then first level.
Okay.
Okay.
A homebrew spell, still getting work done.
Well,
What number is it?
I'm just gonna get out my percentage.
What number was it?
It's a 1.
It was a 1. Yep. The odds of happening.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Well, she has increased. Is that 28? Think.
Wow, is it?
It's 20 on the percentage
Yeah.
dice and 8 on the.
Yeah, so 28.
28. Okay.
So you feel after you cast the spell, there's residual magic on your palms, and you feel like you're able to cast it faster. Like suddenly, things that would normally be an action to cast are now a bonus action to cast for the next minute.
Yeah. So
So now you can cast
Basically-
2 fireballs a turn.
You technically could, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. Next turn, she knows what she's doing then.
Fireball double! Pew!
You can basically cast one spell that uses a spell slot, and then one cantrip as well.
No,
That's
not
no-
2 fireballs.
Not you can to firebolt to 2 cantrips.
Oh, is it cantrip?
She's probably gonna stick with Firebolt.
Okay.
Fireball.
With
How's
that, Zacchaeus, you're up.
Would you say that the weather is stormy?
No, it's pretty dry actually.
The weather is frightful, but the fire is so delightful.
Says the woman who just shot fire.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
But yeah, it's still pretty dry. Like you're not. There's cloud coverage, but it's not rain clouds.
No, I'm going to slow down then, so I fall back in between the 2 cards.
In between the guards.
2 cards.
The cards.
Okay. 45.
And then I'm going to cast Call Lightning.
Okay.
Okay.
So that hits a 15-foot cube, basically.
Yeah,
Centered
I'm
on
going
your-
to strike the big boy.
The big boy. What's the range on it? Is that 120 feet for range?
120 or 180.
I think it's 120 and then
120.
yeah. So yeah, you can absolutely cast it. So it needs to make what kind of saving throw?
Dexterity save.
Okay. And that's
I
third
orange
level.
beard!
That's third level, right?
Yeah.
What's your spell save DC?
15.
Yeah, no. It's 8.
I just
I
want to
think a
point out.
storm is coming, and I call down this bolt of
I think
lightning
a
to strike it
storm is coming.
Hey, copyright infringement!
right
So essentially, as Zacchaeus holds back his horse and the carts begin to sail past him, the horse lands and you can see his eyes turn from which was once a solid color now turn into a complete shade of white. Holds out his palm and you can see like the clouds that are above kind of coalesce around the above the
Zeus!
above this strong periton, and a crack of lightning just comes down and goes and just shocks straight into its back. So how much damage is that? 3d10?
3d10.
30.
That is 22 points of lightning damage.
Oof. That is painful. It gets this massive bolt shocked through it. You can see that the electricity kind of courses through it, and it's getting repelled slightly from several of the veins that hits it. So it's hitting it, but it doesn't feel like it's doing as much damage as it should.
Which lightning striking something directly should just like incinerate it immediately.
It's not a pure lightning strike. It's lightning, but it's not like Odin's going die.
You mean Zeus?
You know what I meant. You still have a bonus action. Is there anything you wanted to do?
No, that's it.
Flip it off.
That's everything.
Okay, now it's the Periton's turn. So what's going to happen is this one is going to dive bomb at you. So it was already in its diving animation, so it's just going to fly straight down at you and try to hit you with its horns.
That's a 20.
So it's going to make a... That's what's your AC?
9.
It's probably not 9, so
13.
yeah, okay, you're fine when it
How
misses
did
with
you
the
know?
horns.
9. It's 9.
And it misses with its talons as it just dives down, and when you basically held out your hand and the crack of energy, it was diving down at you, but then ends up just crashing directly next to you. Very narrowly missing you.
Breaking its neck and dying.
No, it actually is completely fine. It doesn't crash into the ground, it just completely misses.
Jake, how do you know I don't have a -2?
This one is also going to do the same to this guard.
Which guard?
The one that's right here.
The monkey?
Yes.
Domestic?
That's going to hit with its gore, so when it does a dive attack, it does an additional bunch of damage. That's a 1, 8, 11, plus 3. So this guard, it just dives down and slams its horn into it, and you can see it gashes straight across its chest, and then the bird quickly spins around and tries to slice him open with its talons as well, which will also hit. So,
The monkey.
with max damage on the talons, it gores into him and then rakes across him. He's dying.
Oh, really?
He's not instantly killed by any means, but definitely dying. Taking 24 points of damage in that turn. So it's now also going to
Is that just a regular bird?
That's the Periton, yeah. This is the strong one. It's flying much faster than the others and is going to dive at Gopher.
No.
Gopher
I'm just wearing I just want my beard!
Natural 20.
Oh!
What
Do
the
I have
hell?
to make
Where's
a
the
check to
natural
get out of the
one?
way? 'Cause I'm
It
right next to
doesn't
Gopher?
no.
No.
Gopher just puts out a
I'm gonna roll
manly
this.
arm, beats it over the head,
Yeah.
breaks its neck, and dies.
I'm gonna borrow
Doesn't
this.
get out of
What?
the way. It's a check to get out of the way, right?
It's attacking Gopher. You're on this side.
I'm good. I felt like someone made a check to get out of the way. But
No,
No, nobody did.
no one has it.
It just missed Zacharias entirely. Okay, so I'm gonna need to roll a bunch of these. You take 28 points of piercing damage as it dives into you and just completely. Both horns just go straight into your chest, and it feels like it's almost punctured part of your lungs.
Oh.
Alright, thank you for your red die. I needed to roll 5 of those. It then is also going to attempt to slice at you with its talon.
So is it just stuck in him by
No. It just rips them out of its head. It's very powerful. Does a 16 hit you? Does a 16 hit your armor class?
Yeah.
Okay. So then it's going to do 2d4. I'm going to need you to make a Constitution saving throw as well, as you take 7 more points of piercing damage.
Birds are just crazy.
What?
8.
8?
Yep.
That is not going to be enough, unfortunately. So after the talons, which are sickly black like nails that just rip through you, the wound itself begins to like pulsate almost, and you feel your muscles tensing, not from paralysis, but as if they're having spasms, and you're in immense pain. You have you are what I've called the everlasting pain disease currently.
Okay.
It's so right now you have disadvantage on all attacks and and attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws.
Okay.
You also have your speed at half.
You said that one also hit me for 16?
That one hit you for 3.
Oh,
Or no, sorry, for 7 points of piercing.
Okay. So on top of that, 28, right?
Yeah. So in total, this turn you took 35.
Oh my god.
So he's
I'm
essentially
18 health.
poisoned.
He's poisoned right now. Not diseased, poisoned.
He's wounded.
He's also wounded.
Well, no, like wounded, bleeding, kind of like.
This is
shit
definitely a poison effect that's causing
That
this.
shit hurts, dude.
Drink some alcohol. Walk it off.
I need to get myself drunk.
So after that, it's going to be this one's turn. It's going to then try to bash into the cart
No,
with its
make it hit
dive.
me. No, shit.
Wait, bashing.
It misses the cart.
Nice.
It's then going
Does it
to
get
say
caught in
fuck it
the-
and gonna fly over and perch on top of it.
Nice.
This is my house now.
It's with the miss to that, it's just gonna try to rip open the top with its talons, which does rip open some of it.
This is the perfect picture I just found.
Can we see what Rex and
Tyler.
Harvey's doing in there now?
That's awesome. It does. It grabs into it and rips open several like pockets, but it's not enough to actually rip off the top.
Okay.
So it just cuts into it. It's not enough because this is a very fortified box, basically, that he's created. He's ripping into it, but it's not enough to rip it off, essentially.
He's gotten about a third through all the barricade.
This one's going to
God.
attempt
He's
to
still
dive at Jacqueline as well.
Ooh, get that bitch. Wait, what? I'm just kidding.
Does a 15 hit your armor class?
Oh. Oh, God.
Okay. So it dives down to hit you and completely whiffs. It's going to try to swing.
I mean, it doesn't completely whiff. It missed by 2.
Okay. Does a 24 hit you
Yeah.
Oh, 24
with its
hit.
talons?
Yeah.
Okay. So you do not need to make Constitution saving throw either, by the way.
Okay, because it's just a regular guy.
You take 5 points of piercing damage and it roll 2 weapons for damage.
I'm not even going to retaliate with that.
This one's going to dive at Randall.
Pathetic.
Jerk.
I ain't got no meat on
17 to hit. I think you have a 19 for your armor class, so that misses.
I have the highest armor class.
It's going to swing with its talons as well. 17 again, so completely misses you. The final one is then going to, again, perch on top after attempting to dive attack it. Which also misses with a natural 2, and then we'll just rip open its talons, which actually hit. So then the top is getting...
I'll go for it.
Oh, what's happening? You're full.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of claws now digging at the top. You can see they actually successfully got like a plank off and then ripped it off. You can't really see the top, but yeah, you just see a plank of wood just get thrown off to the side.
Oh.
We just Harvey's definitely losing.
Alright, so now that the Peritons are finished, we get to Alan. Alan and them are gonna
I forgot
continue.
that they were here.
Yeah.
So basically, they're fighting. You can see the woman is several missiles fire up from her hand as she fires, and she's good. Alan takes out his rapier and is essentially just holding it guard when one of them dashes down towards him. He punctures in the throat. They're basically just fighting off their own way of them.
Oh, they have 4 of them.
Yeah, they got 4. The Lard Lord, you can see one of the guards gets picked up by one of them, and before the other one, the Lard Lord essentially shouts, "Forget him!" and they just start to haul ass as this one guard is now being dragged off by several Peritons.
I was almost hoping that the Lard guy would be like
Awesome.
badass as fuck, but
No. He's a Lard Lord! Anyways, that's
Yeah,
the top
so
of the
is-
initiative order. So
yeah,
Randall.
so
So wait, are all the birds that are from his caravan just leaving him alone?
They're basically there's
God.
about half of them are distracted by the one guard. They're basically ripping him open and grasping at something. It's pretty gross and grotesque.
Oh,
He's dead by all means. That guard is
at
gone.
least ours isn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Randall, your
But
turn.
what do our other two birds do?
Right, yeah.
Oh right, I didn't even roll for them. I'm dumb. Well, with one
Poor
being
guy.
right there, this one's going to essentially move him out of the way.
Nice.
Move.
And they're gonna try to stab at it with their spears. At the same time, that one will hit. That one will also hit. So it's gonna do a D8 each because they're wielding it two-handed. So that does 10 damage to the person. And they're pushing him into the ground. So they're gonna need to make strength checks each against hits, athletics, or acrobatics. Ooh, okay. So basically what ends up happening is they puncture into it, because the cart's only this big, like it's only about 20 feet wide. They push him off and are basically pushing it into the ground as the ground just goes and just rips into his back. Eventually they pull out their spears and it's just kind of like on the ground and getting sailed
Did some of the
past.
others get distracted by that now?
Others what?
The birds.
They're not like distracted by any means. The other ones are.
Does Jacqueline see this feat of?
Yeah, of
Okay.
strength. They rolled natural 19, 17, and then the person rolled a 3. So
Okay. So after she sees them like double team that bird, she points and is like, "Make sure that other guy does not die. I will be over there to help as soon as I can."
Randall, you're up. Oh, also he needs to make a death saving throw as well. That's one fail. He just coughs up a bunch of blood. And yeah, so now Randall, your turn.
Wait, so do they hear her say that?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
They recognize you by giving you a brief nod, and as their faces are horrified. Music, why do you stop?
Was there any music for this combat?
I'm deleting this one because it's not working apparently.
Just be like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Randall, you're
And
up.
definitely gets out.
Randall, you're up.
I'll shoot the no. I'm good. I think I
You've got one directly in front of you, and
Yeah.
you've got one that's all. You got the big bad one that's attacking Gopher right now.
It's essentially a gopher.
Yeah.
Gopher definitely took a hefty blow. He's got a lot of hit points on him. I think he got like what, 15 left?
I'm 18.
18 left. Ooh.
Yeah, that's why I'm conflicted. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to shoot the big bad.
Shoot the big bad one with your crossbow.
Eldritch Blast.
Oh, Eldritch Blast. Okay.
Nice.
So 2 blasts. First one. That's against the big bad?
Yep.
Okay.
15.
15 does hit, just barely.
12.
12 does not hit, unfortunately. You fire the first
I
one.
can redirect it, technically.
You can't redirect them when you already targeted one, though. If you were firing both blasts at it, I will also tell you 12 would not hit the other one either. So regardless, you missed.
I can use it as a flick.
Yeah, you basically shoot off and it just lands in the mud, splatters a bunch of dirt. But go ahead and roll damage for the one.
All again, 13.
13
No.
points of 13 points of damage. That's the round. And that's just force damage, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not reduced. Okay. So, anything else you want to do with your bonus action? I will tell you, your hiding did not seem to work on them before.
Oh, wait, I actually hit?
You ducked.
I was more saying I just to annoy you.
What do you want to do? Anything else you wanted to do?
Let me see if I have. My spells are. Ooh, I do have.
What are you doing? Otherwise, I'm going to bypass it.
I'm looking at my what I can do with the bonus section. I have got hex, and I'm gonna hex the big guy.
Okay, you're gonna hex a big bird. Disadvantage on what ability check?
Let's go with strength.
Strength. Okay, so it's got disadvantage on strength.
That seems like that's going to be real handy to pick a guy up and fly him away.
It's a good point. So it'll essentially have disadvantage on an athletics checks. Okay. Back. Ryder, you're up.
Right, 15 feet closer. Alright, how much close am I to the big one?
The big one?
Yeah.
You can't see him.
Oh,
You see like
You
wings
see
and feathers
wings,
from
but
the
you
front.
can't see its figure currently.
Oh.
Because it's essentially the cart is right here, so it's essentially blocking you. You can see some of its wingspan and maybe its tail, but
Alright,
apart from that, you
and
can't
I'm
see
guessing
its
the only
body.
one I can see is the one attacking the asparagus.
You can also see several that are up on top as well. You see 2 of them that are on top. One of them is completely dead with holes in its wings. But
How about the, okay. I'll shoot the one next to asparagus.
Okay.
Do I want to shoot? I haven't done- Oh, actually, is it on the ground? Right.
it's right next to him.
So wait, no, let's do that. Let's do that instead. Let's take a chance. I'll do vicious mockery on the.
Okay. So it needs to make a wisdom saving throw?
Is it a wisdom? Okay.
Pretty sure.
Go over and that's fine.
We're literally in the
Yeah,
middle
wisdom
of
saving.
Yeah, 15.
My spell save DC is. I'm pretty sure
There's
it's only.
the rock.
Oh, it's 15.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
so
the
it does
boulder.
save.
Right.
So nothing
The
happens.
boulder.
Okay. Well, no,
One of us is the
I
hard
don't think
spot.
the.
It doesn't take half damage or anything.
Yeah,
We got a
that,
wall behind
it only
us.
is.
More-
If
more rock.
You have 4 people talking. Pretty sure it doesn't do anything. If it's
It's save disadvantage on attack roll. If it succeeds. But it doesn't succeed.
I'm pretty sure it's saved because it makes.
Yeah, so it still takes damage, but.
100% certain it does not.
Vicious mockery.
Vicious mockery. I am 100% certain it does not do damage if it's saved against its if it's saved against its DC. Where's my player's handbook?
Here you go.
Oh, you schmuck.
I was using it for cure wounds.
It's a D8 on touch.
Yeah, I was thinking if it was touch.
Oh yeah, it's touch.
I eat that.
Vicious mockery. It must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or take 1d4 psychic damage and have disadvantage on its next attack roll if it makes before the end of its turn. Doesn't if it doesn't say that it takes half damage on a success, it does nothing.
So nothing.
So nothing.
Next thing, bonus action. Healing word on the guy who's dead.
Okay, go ahead and roll wild magic.
Here's an interesting thing also. He
You're good.
needs to understand
It understands common. These creatures do.
That's terrifying.
Well, I know why I can't understand this.
7.
7 points of healing as this guard goes.
He's still on the ground, but he's alive.
I got you!
Welcome to
Okay.
the land of the living.
Make sure you mark your spell slot.
I got you.
Mean Mead's gonna go. He can't really catch up. He's gonna take a shot again with this. Well, he wouldn't be at disadvantage anymore because they're not 60 feet up, and it's 80 feet for a light crossbow. Hey, that actually hits. D8 of damage.
Which one is he?
The one that's attacking Sakaris. It's realistically the only one that he has the best range to hit right now. Hey, that's good. That does 9 points of damage. Just stabs straight into its wing as it goes, and it bucks its horns around.
Not dead.
Not dead. That one has not been injured yet. So there we go. Okay, that's all he can really do. So we got Gopher. You basically have been bombarded by this creature.
Yeah, this bastard.
Rage!
So is he like right next to me?
He's right next
Oh
to you.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm just gonna rage.
Okay, bonus action rage. Just you hulk out.
Yeah.
The veins. You basically see him like after the blood is coursing through him, or the blood is just oozing out of him. You see him like touch it and goes, and it just the veins burst out. His skin gets like super tense. Oh yeah, it's just like it's terrifying. He was a big dude before. He's thick now.
I'll attack with my great sword.
Against it?
Yep.
Okay. You have disadvantage still because of the poison. You do have reckless attack though if you wanted to, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Super-
I use
super-
reckless.
okay, so you don't have advantage because what it would do is it would just make it a normal roll because you would have disadvantage. So then advantage normal.
Okay.
So what was your first roll?
My first one was 11. This one was 16. So
11 plus what? Because it's plus your strength,
Yeah. That's 13.
plus your strength, plus your proficiency.
Oh.
How did it go from 13 to 19?
Oh, sorry, 16.
16. Okay.
Yeah, what the? Yeah, I was like.
16 does hit. So go ahead and roll your 2d6 plus your strength damage from being enraged, which is plus 2, and then your strength score. So it's your plus your strength, which I think is a plus 2, and then for rage you add an additional 2 damage.
Okay. So is it 1 hit or?
It's just 1 hit because you're also a level 2 rogue, so you're not level 5.
Yeah, 6.
6. So what ends up happening is you cut into it, and the veins also kind of pulsate out and stop some of the blade. So when you rip into it, it doesn't do as much damage as you'd hope, but it still cuts into it pretty deep.
Nice.
Anything else you wanted to do? I think that's about it. 'Cause you used your bonus action to rage. Jacqueline, you currently can cast a spell as an action as a bonus action right now.
Okay, so.
That would be actions, or 1 spell that would
And
come.
she still has
Yes, you did not get hit, so you did not have to make a Constitution saving throw to incinerate up, essentially.
There's a bird in front of her.
Directly in front of you, yes.
She's not going to care about that.
If you try to cast a ranged attack when something is near you, you have disadvantage on the roll. Because they're essentially blocking you from being targeted. That's the risk of ranged attacks when a creature is right in front of you.
Okay. She did not. I don't think that was ever stated.
It's
before.
never really been a problem before.
Okay, well, then she will shoot this one in the face.
Okay. You'll have disadvantage because it's right in front of you.
She will slash at it with Moon Shadow then.
Okay.
I hate this game.
So go ahead and make your attack.
Okay, 11.
Is that with everything in it?
Huh?
Is that with modifiers and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that does unfortunately miss. So you go to swing and it just kind of flaps backwards and it cuts into the air.
Okay,
You still have an action for your bonus action if you wanted to cast a spell.
she'll take the disadvantage. Shoot in the face with Thunderbolt.
Okay, go ahead and roll with disadvantage.
That's not getting that number. Yeah, that was more fucking like it. So that would be 14.
14 hits. So
Enough.
so that was a firebolt, yeah. So it does 2d10 and then incinerate on top of it. So that does an additional d8, right? And then it has to make a Constitution saving throw at the start of its
You're
turn.
the one who has all the things.
Oh, okay.
I didn't write it down.
Okay. It does an additional 2d. It does an additional d8. So 2d10 and a d8.
1d10 is 3. 7, so that's 10 initial. And then a d8. Another 7.
Okay. And yeah, so that's 17.
And it has to make a Constitution saving throw or take.
It does it at the start of its turn, and then it would take a d8 if it fails, essentially. As it's got this fire that's now engulfing several parts of its wings. It is very badly burned from that as well, so it is just barely flapping on. With that, we've got Zakaris.
I am going to cast another bolt of lightning down on the guys.
Okay. If so, you're going to target it so that way it doesn't hit either of the horses or the cart, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you basically target it right about here.
Oh, God.
Yeah, because it's a 15-foot cube.
Yeah.
It's dangerous with nearby allies. Okay, so it needs to make a dexterity saving throw. That is a 14.
That fails.
Okay, so then it will take the 3d10, reduced by half because of its resistance.
That is 17 points.
So then reduce down to 8 because of rounding down. Okay.
I will then use 2 of my dice to heal that guy next to me.
Okay, so you use your bonus action from Circle of the Dream and give him 2d6 healing. You can go ahead and roll that. You also get 2 temporary hit points as well.
He gets 3 hit points back.
Oof. Oof. That healing, though.
I know, right?
Several of his wounds are healing back up, but he's still pretty injured, especially from the recent attacks. So now it's up to the Parrotson's turns again. This one, after being burned, needs to make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC, which I think is either 14 or 15. Fails, so he takes another d8 of fire damage. As this purplish flame is just igniting itself. 5 more points of damage. That kills it.
Nice.
Turns into a...
Basically, it's trying to flap the fire off of it, but you can see the fire itself is actually moving and like staying onto its wing, and eventually just ignites the wing, and it just crumples over to the side, basically getting left
Turns
behind.
into a cooked turkey.
Dies horribly. The other ones, this one is gonna continue to rip off the top with its horns. That rolled off. Which, natural 20. So it's going to deal 13 points of damage to the top. Talons, that also hits. Horn, the other one, that hits. Talons miss. So then it rips off that much, and then the talons from the other one. It essentially does 33 points of damage to the ceiling. Eventually, you can hear Rex, "You guys gotta stop this!" And you actually see a short sword puncture through the top as he's going to make an attempt to attack it.
Lots of them.
He hits
Somehow.
with a d6 with max damage. Does 9 points of damage. I don't have a sheet with him because he has a sheet. It does. Oh no, it would be 10 points of damage because he has a +4 to it. Okay, so he does that with the Zaton. Just stabs into it.
And because the Zaton is just such a cool weapon, it just like incinerates it.
And but because it is magical, it does not get resisted. So, with that, this one's gonna attack Randall with its Hoard. Doesn't get the gore, or doesn't get the special ceiling attack though. That will miss. The 2. That will also miss. The 4. The other one's gonna attack. The big baddie is gonna attack Gopher with its horn.
Unfortunately,
15 hits, correct?
It does.
So then it's 1d8. You take 7 points of piercing damage, so reduced down to 3 because you're raging.
Oh, is the only reason that he took so much before is because the thing had momentum on him?
It gave, because it dived straight down, and then it was also a critical hit, so it did
Okay.
yeah.
68 damage.
God damn.
Yeah, it did. Normally it would do 3d8, and then it did 68.
Wait, it's 68 and you have 18 health left.
It did not do 68 damage.
Not 68, 6d8. Its talons miss.
Okay.
The one that's attacking Zacchaeus is going to instead flap its wings powerfully.
The one that's attacking Zacchaeus is dead.
No,
it's not.
That's
No,
the one that's
okay.
attacking Zacchaeus.
No, it got hit with an arrow, and I just thought it was dead.
No. What it does is it flaps its wings so hard, and it just jolts into the air very fast. It doesn't give you the chance of giving you an attack of opportunity against it, and it will immediately go straight into a nosedive towards you with its horns. So it flaps up 30 feet and then dives down 30 feet towards you. That would be a 16 to hit.
That'll hit.
Okay. You take 15 points of damage. I need to make a Constitution saving throw. DC is 10 to maintain your thunder.
Don't fail me now. That's a 5. That spell fails.
Yeah, unfortunately, after getting hit basically in the shoulders by this massive bird, it knocks your concentration. You can see the clouds dispersing from your Call Lightning spell.
It will then try to attack you with its talons, which 17 hits, so 2d4. Ah! I did drop that, don't worry about it. You take another 7 points of slashing damage. That's what.
Nice.
That's all of them. So now we go to
Alan.
Alon's turn.
You see Alan?
Yeah, I know, Alan. But so essentially, what ends up happening is several of the Paratons are being bombarded by spells or stabbed away, and the large hulking figure actually hurls the halfling, which when it grabs onto it, you can see this crown that begins to morph on top of the creature, and he's now piloting it, basically, and it's sliding in, slashing at several of the other ones.
Crown of Madness.
Yeah. I hate that spell.
Creature did not pass either, because I didn't realize I didn't check for it.
Didn't
And it was a 2.
Asparagus had that spell before?
No, that was
Oh, yeah.
Jacqueline did.
Oh.
Anyways,
You need a pretty high spell DC in order for that to work most of the time.
14's not bad. Anyways, it
I had 12 at the time.
yeah, the 12 was pretty difficult. I mean, you were attacking kobolds though, so they had like a DC of -3 because of it. Anyways, basically that's what happens with them. So now Lord's turn. Because of the Paraton that essentially began to lift up the other ones, the rest of them conglomerated and just ripped out its heart, and then they begin to fly away. They leave the carcass there. They just have the heart in their talon. And the rest of the group escapes, essentially. The guards' turn. This one's going to stand up. They're all just going to take 3 shots at this dude with their hand crossbows.
Oh,
Miss.
It hit Asparagus.
Hits.
Before I can see it, we should, after combat this time, we should go to break.
Oh, yeah.
It's been 2 hours already.
Yeah, we'll do that here shortly then. So that one is now dead. Just gets shot in the back by several.
Hey, my
It
prediction
did not.
was
That one did not have much health to begin with.
Yeah, it was quite
prediction.
Jake, don't worry.
There are
I
still
will
2
take care of it.
Paratons that are just chilling out on top that have not been harmed yet, though.
Is the cart made out of metal, right? Or-
It's got wood plating. It's got like it's just a lot of layers of wood.
One of them got hurt before it went up there.
Oh yeah, the one that was on the side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it did. I was looking at its health wrong. Anyways, so now we're at the top of the initiative order. Randall, you still have this Paraton directly in front of you,
I'm
swinging
shooting
at it with Eldritch Blast.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and fire.
I'll shoot it.
First roll.
11.
11 misses. Go ahead and roll your second.
The same roll.
Goes as a misses. So 2 bolts just go and just slide off into the distance, making a crescent heart before colliding into each other. Anything else?
I still got my skills.
Still got my speed. All right. Ryder.
50 feet!
You are essentially running alongside the cart as you do a backflip.
Do I see the big one?
You're still behind the car.
No, if you wanted to move this way 15 feet, you'd be able to.
Oh, let's do that then.
Alright, there you go.
Now do I see it?
Yes, you can
Alright.
barely see it from this angle.
Crossbow. Boom.
Go ahead and fire.
Wait,
At regular, right?
didn't he move twice?
No, he moved him.
You just moved me
I
back.
moved him back and then moved him
Oh,
to the side.
okay.
Just regular, right?
It's within 8 feet, so.
I don't know, 15?
15 hits. Go ahead and roll your D8.
Whisper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll your D8 first,
Okay.
and then add your modifier to that.
7.
Okay, so that's reduced down to 3 because it's not magical arrow.
Okay.
And then you do the whispers to it. So that's 2d6.
7 in total.
7 points in total as you shoot it. Basically, you shoot it with a crossbow. It stabs into it. It's very similar to what's his name? The dude that has the stand that has the sounds emanating from Stardust Crusader. The one that throws sound and it reverberates in the person's ear. The one that was the egg.
Oh, that's
Oh.
that's someone else. That's part 4.
Regardless, it's very similar to that.
Echo.
You speak
Echo.
into the arrow, and then when it collides, the sound reverberates into it. And because it does understand common, it does affect it as well.
Was that a JoJo's reference?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I don't know his name, Kokichi or something?
Yeah, Kokichi, you got
Oh, look at that. I know something about anime. It's still barely alive. You can see that the sound that's reverberating into it is actually very much so affecting it.
Alright, and then one more body no, not one more. One more healing word. I'll do a level 2 one. Go for there.
I'll allow it because he can hear you. So yeah, I'll allow it.
Okay.
So 2d4. Yeah, wild magic. You're good. 2d4.
3 and
7
4,
plus
7,
your
and
charisma, which I
plus-
think is plus 4. So
Yep. So
11 points of healing.
Yes. Twitch without that.
Get back in there, gopher!
20 feet up.
Mead's
Go for
turn.
Gorilla.
He can't do jack, so he's going to attempt to shoot at the ones that are up there with disadvantage now. They're far as fuck. That was a good roll. That was not. It just punctures into the side of the cart.
Nice shot!
Oh god. Is it able to be seen inside the
You don't know. Gopher, you're up.
Alright,
When you
reckless
hear
attack
anyone
on this
losing their mind.
Okay.
big guy there.
Okay. Go ahead and roll to attack with disadvantage. Well, now normal. 11 to hit. That does not hit, unfortunately. So you go to swing, and this time it's desperity. It just slides its wing forward, and it parries your greatsword away.
You got parried by a bird.
This guy's tough guy.
By a wing.
Intentionally or by accident, nobody will know. Jacqueline, you're up.
Do I still have the thing?
Yeah, it's still active for a minute. So
And is lay on hands an action?
lay on hands is an action. It's not a spell.
Or-
Cure wounds is though.
Touch me.
I can only move 15 feet.
Yes.
Well, okay, since she can't do that thing, she will do basically, how many, there are still 2 birds on top of the cart, right?
Yeah.
She'll just fire 2 firebolts, 1 of each.
Okay. Go ahead and roll to attack for both of them then. The purple flame is also still incinerating this poor bastard.
He's like I
First
said,
one,
he's now a roaster.
14.
14 hits. So then second one.
13.
13 also hits.
I AC 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only one that has a higher AC than those are
The big guy.
the big one.
Great, and then that's, I have to roll 4d10.
2 and then 2, so that way I know which one to take which.
So, the first 2, that is 13.
Okay, 13.
12, sorry, I know math.
12, okay.
No, we don't.
Second one, 5.
5. Okay. So just both engulfed into flame. Are you engulfing yourself?
No.
It's
I do not
it's like in
think
a
the
Yu-Gi-Oh
sound of...
game. When you have a face down card, you can activate the network. Like, you want to activate this card now? Fucking Tyler.
Okay. Anything else you want to do with like a bonus act? Well, that. Okay, no, you did fire both. Okay, so then Zacchaeus, you're up.
I am going to cap a first level ice knife at the guy on top of the carriage who didn't get hurt as bad.
Okay, go ahead and throw your ice knife. Yep.
That is 22 to hit.
That will definitely hit, and then it will also burst, right?
Yeah, so he takes 1d10 from the initial hit, and then they take 2d6, I think.
Yes. So go ahead and roll damage. It's a dexterity saving throw, right? For the ones that explode.
Yeah.
Do they take no damage if they succeed?
That's a good question. I think it's half.
Okay, because Rex will also take half then as well.
No, if they pass, they don't take any damage.
Oh, okay. Well, the 2 that weren't hit saved. Do I have to roll for the one that got hit? I would assume it just hits him.
That's your call. The spell doesn't really say.
I'll say it hits him because it's going to hit him and then explode. It'd be very difficult to dodge it after it hit him.
Sounds good to me.
Rex doesn't take the... He sees the nice knife.
10 from the initial hit, and then 11 from the explosion.
Oof. So 21 in total.
Yeah.
That's a good hit. Okay, so what ends up happening is you cast this blade of ice and you just throw it forwards. It punctures into him and explodes. The other one flaps its wings and repels most of the shards from him, stabbing into the other one. And then you can hear Rex ducking as the explosion coats the entire top of the cart, with his arm barely out of it.
I assume our employer is now.
You may be hearing screams that are very high-pitched whining, just like, no!
I assumed at this point he had just passed out from just sheer terror.
You don't know yet. Yeah, that one is very damaged and very, very much so barely on its wings. Now it would be their turns. So what's going to happen is this one's now going to start to fly away, and it's going to dash. So he's now 120 feet that way. This one's going to do the same.
So there are no parakeets on top of the cart.
There are none. No parakeets. This one's going to do the same as well. None of you are able to get attack opportunities. This one is going to continue to fight, though. You can see that his eyes are solid red and just like it's got black lines encasing it that are just like pulsating as
I'm
well.
assuming the lines have just been growing as the path's going on.
It's been going bad. It will continue to attack Gopher at this point out of sheer anger. The gore will miss.
Also enraged.
Yeah.
And the Talon will hit. I'm going to need you to make another Constitution saving throw as well.
Birds are very.
You take 4 points, already reduced. So you take 4 points of slashing. Natural 20? Alright, you're good. You don't get worse. So basically it cuts into you and you can feel the pain from before and you're like, and it
For a second, you
pulses
feel fine.
out the blood that was actually contaminated and just like shoots it out from you.
For a brief second, he feels fine, and then
It gets back to the pain from before.
You said that was 4 damage?
Yeah, 4 damage. That's what happens. The Alon essentially finishes off the rest of them. They're attacking. You can see several Paratons are essentially falling back, and then the Crown of Madness one. You can see the halfling take its loot and then lay on its back, play a few notes, and then the bird just begins to fly away with the halfling jumping back onto the cart.
Who did?
The halfling man on the other side, on the Alon's cart.
The
Alan's cart.
Hobbit.
Yeah, basically the Hobbit.
He's also
The real tiny hobbit.
He will also give Bardic Inspiration to Gopher. Since he's 50 feet away, he can do that. I think it's 50 feet, or is it
Good
30?
thing he didn't give it to me, because I already have one.
Yeah.
Still.
Your Bardic Inspiration?
They're the inspiration.
Yeah, Bardic Inspiration is different. He's got a D8 that he can add to any roll now, essentially. Including damage. This is a bard of, which one is that? That's,
School of Swords.
no, it's not the School of Swords, it's the other one that you had the option to at the beginning core rulebook. Valor. Yeah, the School of Valor. But yeah, so now we're at the top of the issue order. Randall, the only one that's there. Go ahead and roll to attack with Eldritch Blasts.
Yep. 19.
That hits.
And 17.
Also hits. Don't even roll damage. It's got 3 health. You just go. And how do you want to end this?
I'm just aiming for its heart.
Okay, so you fire forwards
Can I do
to
it?
blast.
Can I make it just another?
Yeah, you can make it into a shape of a heart.
Behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, so basically, you cup your fingers into such a pattern that the Eldritch Blasts then take the shape, and you very gingerly place it as your heart, and it just fires forwards in this green, sickly beam. And it creates a hole in the size of a heart into its heart and out through the back. You can actually see the heart. The heart that was shot is still solid. It did not burst, but it was jettisoned out the rest of the body as the veins just kind of curl around, and then it goes limp and falls to the side, coasting past the cart as it's now hauling ass into the forwards.
So the heart is way out there. We ain't getting that correct.
It was blasted very far out. And with that, we're going to go to a little bit of a break as this has gone
Wait.
way too far.
Wait,
Yes.
Are we done with combat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jacqueline will make her way up to Gopher and give him 5 points of lightning hand if she can.
For healing or for the cure poison?
There's a reason why I specifically said 5.
Okay. So basically after Jacqueline runs forwards, places a hand onto your muscles, this energy courses through you and it just goes and some of the wounds heal over. Oh no, none of the wounds heal over, but you can feel the poison just vanish from your body, and you're not in ceaseless pain anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rhino's
I'll also do that since she already has her hands on him. Can she also
Two
cast
Barbie's
Cure
dead.
Wounds
Go ahead and roll wild magic.
for
Second level.
2?
Okay. Go ahead and roll wild magic.
She's gonna get a 10. We're all gonna die.
Could be. Explodes to half the cart.
Oh,
4. We're good.
Okay, so 2d8 plus your charisma.
Praxis is left off.
Plus my charisma?
2d8 plus your charisma. Which I believe is plus
3.
So, how much XP is this now?
So I'm changing it where I'm going to distribute XP at the end.
Remember, you have to give me mine separately.
For what?
Because I gotta keep track of it separately than everyone else.
Oh, right.
You don't have access
Okay.
to my
Awesome.
character sheet.
Well,
Gotcha.
in light of,
So you still gotta give me whatever XP I get.
okay.
Normally, yeah.
In light of the rolls that she did, she'll spend 1 sorcery point to re-roll both of them.
yeah.
Is that how that? I thought that's only on.
Empowered spell.
I thought that only affects damage spells.
Reroll number. Oh, I guess damage. Okay, this game. So you get 6.
Did you roll 2 ones?
I rolled a 1 and a 2.
Oh. Let me double check on the sorcerer just to be safe.
Well, I have it right here. Empowered spell. Reroll number of damage up to your charisma.
Yeah.
modifier.
When you roll damage for a spell.
Honestly, I honestly think that should be used to heal because it's technically damage.
I mean, it's
negative.
It's undamaged. Okay, so we're going to take a break. This will be the end of the first video of the sessions for online as well. So we will get back to this in about 5-10 minutes. People can eat, go to the bathroom, do what they need to.